Welcome to a stakes-packed Saturday on America's Day at the Races on our FS2 coverage. Great to have you with us on this Saturday afternoon. Program brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. That stakes action includes the road to this year's Kentucky Oaks. For 3-year-old fillies, live coverage of the Busanda. Points to get into that starting gate for the top 4 finishers in that race coming up later on this afternoon. I'm Greg Wolf. Great to have you with us here. Also have stakes action from out at Oaklawn today. The 5th season, the feature there. Ginobili is going to be the horse to beat in that race, but 10-year-old Rated R Superstar, horse who has won that race in the past, still going strong, coming in off a big win. Rates as a contender as well. Here's a look at all of today's action. Stakes races from Tampa Bay as well. We'll have the Pasco, the Gasparilla, and Acacia Clement will be live on site with coverage. We are good in New York, fast at Oaklawn, and fast and off the turf in Oldsmar, Florida for our Tampa Bay coverage here on this Saturday afternoon. With me here on the desk, Andy Serling, New York Racing Association handicapper. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. It's nice to see you. It's nice to be here. Got a lot of action today. Started off the turf down at Tampa, but as you say, fun race, the 5th season down at Oaklawn. Rated R Superstar. He can't race at Naira because he's 10, but he's going strong, and we can watch him here. No. And he is such a cool horse.
He really is. Yeah. Coming off a performance, too, that puts him right in the mix in this field.
Absolutely. It feels like there's plenty of pace in there to set it up for him. He sometimes has trouble putting races back-to-back, but I think it's more a pace scenario, and there's enough pace in here that he should be able to make his run.
All right, we look forward to that. That is the feature today, race 9 at Oaklawn. Of course, you can play all these races by getting signed up started with Naira Bets. Go to nairabets.com, bet any track, anywhere, anytime. The offer, that $200 deposit match sign-up bonus. When you punch in this code for new members, match 200, again at nairabets.com. Well, we need some help. Jonathan Kinchin, your best bet of the afternoon. How you doing?
I'm good, Wolfie. It's good to see you. Andy, how are you as well, my friend? My best bet is going to be down in Tampa. You know, I usually try to throw in a little New York racing best bet, but I'm going to go to Tampa, race 7, the Wayward Lass. I'm going to go with the 7 Past the Champagne. This is a horse that, if you remember, if you look at the past performances, this horse lost a nose, or maybe a head, to Malathot, who will be crowned champion in the next, 20 days or so. She lost to her in her 3-year-old year in the Ashland, a grade 1, a mile and a 16th race. And then she went into the Kentucky Oaks as a 7-1 choice in there and just had a horrendous trip. Never worked out for her. She's run well since. The speed figure wasn't particularly fast in her previous race for Past the Champagne, but I just think that there's a lot more to it than what that speed figure might indicate. She'd run fast before a number of occasions, so it's not like she just got slow all of a sudden. Maybe that race wasn't quite right. And the break that she got after suggests that maybe she needed a little bit of time to figure some things out. I think she's going to be extremely tough today. Historically, the rail is not where you want to be at Tampa Bay Downs. And her biggest opposition in this situation is the one, Beth's Dream, down on the inside, coming in off of a layoff. So if the rail is deep, like they sometimes say that it is, do you want a horse off a layoff? No, give me the horse that almost won a grade 1 to a champion towards the outside. If they let this horse be the second choice, I might need to take a little bit of a break and run to the ATM.
He might be running the ATM after the race, actually. I think the problem, John, that I have is that after her now making her 3rd start in almost 2 years, I think the Champagne may be flat. That would be my concern. She was once a good one, though. I bet her in the Ashland, and I think I said to you, I should have bet more, and then Malathot nailed her.
This 5th race at Tampa was meant for the grass. They're off the turf all day today in Oldsmar, Florida, so a lot of scratches in this race. That's a look at the current favorite. The 4-horse in here was a main track-only entrant for Kent Sweezy. We mentioned, top of the program, we miss her, Acacia Clement, live on site. Good to see you again, Acacia.
Hey, Greg. Hey, Andy. I miss you guys so much, too, but very, very happy to be here at Tampa Bay Downs for the stakes action today. 3 stakes, as you mentioned. Unfortunately, yesterday afternoon got a little over 2 inches of rain, a significant rainstorm coming through here in the Oldsmar, Florida area, so thus off the turf to get a chance to be out on the backside this morning. The course looks in terrific condition, so looking forward to seeing those stakes, which, of course, are carded for the main track. This this race off the turf, and the number 4, Casambas Candy, who is currently your favorite at 2-1, given the fact that he is a main track only, makes a lot of sense. Last time out, the one thing that I've noticed about this horse is that he just doesn't have a ton of early speed, and he really last time kind of took himself out of the race and dropping back before making a steady run outside to be second best in that race, but he just looks best. He looks best suited to the conditions in here as well. A couple others that are a little bit intriguing to me. The number 8, Almanzo. This is a horse that I had notes on back in July when I saw him at Belmont when with Wesley Ward, and I wrote that day, maybe better going a bit longer. And he stretches out today. So I'm a little bit intrigued by him. He's run some fine races on the main track, and he's very sharp. He's been on his toes throughout all the preliminaries here, and I'd expect him to be forward. And one that I thought could be interesting. Yes, he's coming in off a layoff, but he does look fit, making his first start for Amador Sanchez. The number 10, Mr. Matuszek, has run well on the Tapeta down at Gulfstream. I found that those races don't always translate to the main track, and to me, this horse looks much more like a synthetic or a turf physical, Greg.
Acacia, thank you. Great to see you again. 8-5 on this 4-horse.
Yeah, you brought up and you made me laugh while Acacia was talking, because I was kind of interested in the 8 she was talking about too, but then you said to me, I love those ex-Wesley Wards off Avoided Claim, and we had 2 of them that took money yesterday at Oaklawn, and neither one of them ran a step. And I think Almanzo's interesting as well, but I'm not taking a Wesley Ward off Avoided Claim. But nice to see Acacia. It is.
She is missed.
She
Absolutely.
is, no doubt
so
about
we're
it.
going to have her back very soon. We look forward to it. This race, just about set, and we'll see if Almanzo can make an impact. Some warning signs, certainly. Waiting on the 10 to load up. Jason Beam with the call, race 5, Tampa Bay.
He backs away. Now comes forward. They're in the gate. And the race is on. Stumbling there at the start was the number 9, Great Britain, who came away altogether okay. Almanzo going out for the early lead. Mr. Matuszek up from the outside, and Great Britain recovering after that stumble. Now all the way up to challenge for the lead is Almanzo, and Great Britain going to lead him in that first turn. Mr. Matuszek on the outside as Almanzo corners out in about the 3 path, taking Great Britain to the 4 path, and Mr. Matuszek thus out 5 wide. It's 2 more lengths then. Back to Casambas Candy, who's away in the 4th position. Grazer's up the inside 5th, and another length and a half back to Airman at the back. As the 6 of them covered by about 6 now as they work their way onto the back stretch. Almanzo is the leader. Almanzo in front by a half a length to Great Britain, who tugs along in that 2nd position. 24 seconds flat for the opening quarter mile. Casambas Candy and Mr. Matuszek, they now race as a team now 3rd and 4th. Another pair at the back, Airman and Grazer, as they take closer order. Just 4.5 or 5 cover them with 4.5 furlongs remaining. They continue down the back stretch, and it's Almanzo still the leader. Marcos Meneses and Almanzo almost a length in front now of Great Britain in 2nd. Casambas Candy stays toward the inside in 3rd. Grazer going to try to move up down on the rail from that one in 4th. Mr. Matuszek and Airman still at the back, but still 4 lengths cover him. 48 and 4 for that opening half mile. Almanzo's been there every step of the way. Great Britain now a length and a half back in the 2nd position. Pushed along Casambas Candy, Grazer down along the inside. Those 2 now up into that 2nd flight, but they still got to get to Almanzo. Almanzo coming to the quarter pole in front by 2.5 now. Casambas Candy, Great Britain, Grazer. They continue to chase 2nd through 4th. Airman trying to get going with Mr. Matuszek at the back. As they come into the lane, it's Almanzo still the leader. Almanzo comes to the furlong pole in front by 3.5 now. Down the outside, Great Britain. Casambas Candy is back to 3rd, and on the inside, Grazer is 4th. But a final 16th to go. Almanzo still in front and still well in command. Almanzo going to take him all the way here. Won it by about 6-7 in the end. 2nd going to be very close. It's a photo finish there between Casambas Candy and Great Britain. Grazer finished 4th.
Well, this time a former Wesley Ward, it was Avoided Claim, does go on to win. Wins on the stretch out and distance. That's back-to-back victories.
So I think the secret is don't bet the Voided Claims at Oaklawn, but don't worry about them in off-the-turf races down at Tampa Bay. So just went right to the front, and there was really never a moment when this horse didn't look like a winner. I think, as you said, and he went down to 5-2 the last flash, but wasn't like it should have been 2-5.
And had some races in the past forwards going longer that looked like longer might even be better for him. Yeah. We're back here in New York. The late pick 4 begins in race 6. And it's a New York bred race. Maiden special weight. Everyone trying to get that first win of their career in this spot. Weekend rag, 6 furlong sprint, by the way. Jorge Abreu coming out of a New York bred stakes race last time out. This will be start number 3 for this 3-year-old filly with Manny Franco aboard. Let's check in for the first time today with Maggie Wolfendale.
Jorge Abreu has gotten off to quite a white-hot start this year as he's already won a race on the card, sending out Weekend Rag. She looks fantastic here, but I'm a little intrigued by his first-time starter towards the outside. That's number 8, Debbie Darling. Now, it's quite a nice pedigree when you look at the first few foals, and that this one is a full to Loki's Vengeance, who one of my favorite multiple stakes winning New York breds. And then there have been some decent foals, but as a production, as of late, there hasn't been much, but they haven't necessarily looked like this one. Now, maybe she is just kind of a bigger, slower type, but she looks so fit, so ready, so strong. Really like what I'm seeing from her. And as of right now, the board would say that there might be a little bit of ability at her current 72 backing, but definitely the most well-turned out first-time starter, as we do have a good handful of them here in this race. As we'll take a look at Linda Rice's nicely bred number 5, Downtown Mischief, daughter of Into Mischief, the Dam Downtown Mama. She won her first 2 starts sprinting on the dirt for Linda. Now, this is her first foal. The Dam have to a graded stakes winning dirt sprinter as well. And as far as physical presence, her and the aforementioned number 8 in here definitely dominate this field, in that they're big, imposing, just newly turned 3-year-old fillies. Really things I like to see as of this point in their careers. Now, kind of typical of a Linda first-time starter, they typically need a start for fitness. She just looks ever so soft kind of around the edges, but I do think there might be an engine in there, as she is really well developed behind the saddle. We'll see what she does here at First Asking, Greg.
Maggie, thank you. 5 minutes to post in the race that kicks off this Pig 4. We'll get to the post parade coming up in just a minute. A couple of intriguing first-time starters certainly in this field.
Yeah, I mean, you see an Into Mischief, New York bred, first time out, and as Maggie said correctly, that her firsters often need a start. We saw in the 5th race. This one has some pedigree, though.
ABR race of the week on the road to the Kentucky Oaks. Busanda at 1 mile and 1/8, 2 turns. That first turn comes up very quick. Todd Pletcher has won this race 5 times. In the past, he will send out the inside and outside fillies. Gambling Girl and Aniston.
I think one of the things you'll find out is the Demoiselle. Maybe a wet track, so maybe different performances matter, because obviously the winner of that race has gotten a lot of attention. But a colt is the main speed in this race. We'll talk about the Demoiselle after a colt, and I just think they're going to have to catch her on the front end. I mean, the only thing she doesn't have going for her, she doesn't have Manny Franco, and he actually lost a race in the last race, Greg, so things could be falling apart for Manny.
He's been incredible. He's the reigning rider, national rider of the week with what he did last Friday through Sunday. So this is with Manny aboard. This was start number 2, stretching out from 6 furlongs to 1 mile, and she took a big jump forward and looked impressive.
She did. She got the best buyer anybody in this field has run. And more importantly, she looks like the controlling speed. She shouldn't have any problem stretching out to the mile. I think the mile and 1/8, I think the 2 turns, mile and 1/8 would be better for her. Affirmatively, the maiden, who probably, in my opinion, is the biggest rival to a colt, because she's an improving horse and she handled the distance and improved with distance. But was this a good race? And that's really the question, because Gambling Girl, who finished second, who I think is the better of the 2 Pletchers, she's not that good, and she actually ran very well in here, getting narrowly beaten. I know Julia Shining is getting a lot of attention. She's the full to Malathot, so naturally is. That's a big hill to climb. It's like, you know.
That's who wins this
right,
race. Yeah.
Right. Your brother or sister is a genius. You're always going to be fighting against that, right? And she's good. Did she really handle a wet track? Maybe it just wasn't that good a race despite her winning it. Maybe she's not that good. We'll find out. But it'll be interesting to see what those horses out of that race do.
Yeah, still a maiden, but she did finish ahead of a 2-time winner in that race. So back to our post parade. Here's Bustin' Roxy, Jason Wyas aboard.
Yeah, first-time star for Dominus, without much pedigree.
Spurs, 14-1.
Probably more turf pedigree if you look at this horse for Jimmy Bond.
Yeah, we'll get Lasix, the debut, coming up. Eric Cancel rides 8-5 favorite now. Jorge Abreu's Weekend Rags.
Manny Franco looking for his 4th winner in 5 mounts today, and the horse did run fine in a tougher race last time.
Makes a nice appearance as well. My Angel, another first-timer. This one for Mike Maker.
Yeah, the War Dancer, first-time stars in the dirt, probably not the direction you want to go.
Downtown Mischief taking some money. Linda Rice and Jose Lezcano for Lady Sheila stable.
I won't be surprised if this horse is kind of an unusual Linda Rice horse that is ready to go first time out. But I agree with Maggie. They usually need a race.
10-1 next door. That's Sweet Liberty, who's the most experienced in the field. Usually not a good thing in a maiden race.
Yeah, I mean, you could toss her in the experience, but of the 2 experienced ones, she's obviously the lesser of them, but not impossible.
And 6-1, sorry, 7-2 on Debbie Darling, who was a big gate drill coming in for Jorge Abreu, first timer.
I have to Loki's Vengeance was very talented, but 5 horses that couldn't run at all. They're all Frost Giants. I'm not going for a Frost Giant first-time starter.
And 7-1 outside on a first-time starter for Horatio De Paz, City of Light filly with Kendrick Carmouche.
But we saw Horatio De Paz win with a big price first-time starter here last week. He can do it. And this one's interesting. The dam wasn't much. The second dam was good, but there's a couple of runners from her. I think this one's dangerous and took a slight shot. Interestingly enough, Mike Rapoli, who bred this one, had sold the other foals. He kept the foals. He sold this one. So we'll see. $200,000, though.
Minute to post coming up. Race that kicks off this Saturday, pick 4 from South Ozone Park. You can follow along with all the stats on the jockeys, trainers, and horses by downloading free Equibase past performances. Go to NYRA.com/TV schedule and download your free Equibase PPs. Play along with the program. With more on the filly we're looking at, intriguing first-time starter, stablemate to the favorite. Let's go back to Jonathan.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just kind of nailed it for me there, Wolfie, when you said the stablemate to the favorite. So let's just think about what that means. We're trying to understand what these first-time starters can do. If the horse that the public, who is without a doubt the best horse player, the best handicapper the public is, well, you know, they make the favorite 33% of the time, and they're right 33% of the time. If they believe that Jorge Abreu's other horse, the 3, Weekend Rags, is the favorite, then why would Jorge Abreu enter a horse in which he wants that horse to get beat by a horse that, you know, quote unquote can't lose? Now, obviously, there's lots of different reasons. You know, you might want to get the horse to start, got to get the horse started somewhere, so on and so forth. But I do think it's at least worth noting that with a trainer who has the favorite in a race, he decides to enter another horse. And I can tell you why I think this horse might win for all of those kind of fake reasons, but hopefully my friend Maggie Wolfendale can explain a little bit more about how the 8 Debbie Darling actually looks on the racetrack.
JK, I liked her in the paddock. I like her again on the racetrack. She, of the first-time starters, as I said, makes the best impression, and she's the one taking the most money. Do want to briefly mention the weather. Much love to all the people that have to work outside today, because what a difference a day makes. Flurries earlier. The wind is... they're definitely running into a headwind down the backside. Luckily, tailwind to scoot them home. But want to mention the first-time starter as well, my angel for Mike Maker. Yeah, she's a daughter of war dancer, as Andy pointed out, and there just hasn't been much success on the dirt with these horses, especially kind of first time out, though there is dirt pedigree on the bottom side, being out of a Yes It's True mare. She doesn't look overly turf. She looks like a dirt sprinter. She's well prepared, is wearing blinkers first time out. Mike Maker isn't necessarily one of the trainers that I put a big red X next to when they do wear blinkers at first asking. It's a very small cut. And I just thought of the firsters, another one that looked ready to go, that as opposed to the 8 is a big price, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. We'll see what happens here. Weekend Rags. The 3 remains a 7-5 favorite. Light wind coming. I came off that subway walking into the track. It's cold. There were snow flurries, but the wind made it. You got to be tough to ride today in these conditions.
No, I agree. I was teasing some of the riders. I saw them earlier. I said it's your first day of winter today. It's rough, and yeah, we've been lucky. The weather's been when it was cold, we were out, but it's been mostly, except for that few days, it's been, and you were in England during that, been very, very nice out.
We're braving the elements from protected and inside.
We're tough.
But yeah, this is difficult to deal with. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of extra gear on these riders today. Here's the 2 acting up a little bit for the Bond Barn. Eric Cancel in this first-time starter that's not taking any money whatsoever.
Yeah, that one has more of a turfy look. I took a shot with the 9 on the outside. The 8 is getting bet very strongly at the uncoupled stablemate. And Jonathan talking about them running. They don't run this race that often. And basically, Jorge Abreu's got to run them when he can. They're ready to run. He's got to run them for different owners. And there are trainers that'll run too. I've been with Chad Brown when he said, I think they're both really good. You know, you just have to run them sometimes. And you have to let the chips fall as they may.
Set for this late pick 4. Let's go upstairs. Chris Griffin, the call.
All in line. All set. And they're off. Slow start for Bustin' Roxy. Fast start for Downtown Mischief right out to the front. Pinstripe Pizzo's got some early speed, and tightly at the rail is going to be Weekend Rags, is trying to poke on through. In between horses there comes Sweet Liberty, who's challenging and now takes fourth, is in the pink cap. Further back in the field is Spurs. At the rail there tightly is Bustin' Roxy after the start. Out very wide is going to be Debbie Darling, and the trailer, the back end of the field, that is Spurs as they move into the far turn. On the front end now it's Weekend Rags, and Weekend Rags has secured the front end. To the outside is Downtown Mischief. Here splitting rivals is Sweet Liberty's got some run is in between horses. Big gap of 5 now. Back to Debbie Darling, who's got a wide run. Pinstripe Pizzo is losing some ground. My Angel is in that mix with Bustin' Roxy, and the trailer is Spurs. They've got to catch Weekend Rags. 23-4 for the opening quarter mile. In hand is the favorite Weekend Rags, who now kicks for home. Downtown Mischief is back for more up on the outside. It looks like it's between these two. Downtown Mischief in an instant just runs right by Weekend Rags inside the 8th pole. Downtown Mischief is opening up here. 2-3 widening lengths, approaches the 16th. No doubt about Downtown Mischief. 3-year-old filly strides away, wins this one nicely. Sweet Liberty's second, then came Weekend Rags, and My Angel in 1 minute 12.53 seconds.
Downtown Mischief, first-time starter, breaks sharp, winds up taking back a little as Weekend Rags went to the front. This stretch performance she unleashed. Wow.
Jose Lescano rode this horse like there was never a doubt in his mind he was going to win. She, as you say, broke very, very sharply, and not like a Linda Rice horse that needed a race. Put herself right in the game. The favorite went to the lead, but once they at the top of the stretch and Jose Lescano asked this filly to run, she absolutely thrashed this field. And 1:12.53 feels like a pretty strong time. And keep in mind, there's a lot of wind out there too. This is a very, very promising horse for Linda Rice, and Lady Sheila stable as well. She's not La Verdad yet, but you're allowed to dream, right?
Pretty good start to things with this performance.
Yeah, that's a nice horse.
Connections, certainly, yeah, as you mentioned, La Verdad, that's the greatest success they've had together. They've had some good ones, though. 5-6-3-4 finish.
And she's a homebred, too, which is cool. You know, it's one of the things I like about the state-bred races is you see a lot more homebreds in the state-bred races as well, Greg.
So 4-1, Downtown Mischief kicks off the pick 4-1. We'll set up the 7th, have prices from this 6th when we return, and we'll get you over to Hot Springs, Arkansas as well. Terrific card on this Saturday afternoon out in Hot Springs, 5th season. Their feature coming up later with Ginobili, Rated R Superstar, and more. We'll be back right after this.
DeMarchelier offers breeders a rare opportunity as the only son of Dubawi standing in Kentucky. Dubawi, one of the world's most celebrated stallions, is now a sire of sires. His top sons at stud are making a name for themselves across the globe. With a picture-perfect pedigree, this son of Dubawi brings one of the world's most potent bloodlines to America. DeMarchelier, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We're back on America's Day at the Races. Good to be with you. Program brought to you in part by legendary Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. Hot Springs, Arkansas, race 4 at Oaklawn is next. It's an allowance optional claiming field, 2-turn mile. We have back in action Verifying, who showed up at the Breeders' Cup Juvenile for trainer Brad Cox. Did not do much in that race, being well beat by Forte, but was second in the grade 1 prior to that. Let's go live for more. Check in with Paul Duca for the first time today. Hey, Paulie.
Hey, Greg. Good day here in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Absolutely beautiful. A little chilly, but the sun is out. As soon as that sun goes down, that's when I'm going to go get my hand warmers. But right now, if you are live in this pick 5, the first 3 races so far have been the second longest shot on the board, the longest shot on the board, and then another $12 horse or $14 winner with Keith Asmussen aboard. So, you know, I could be looking 4 out of 5s in here. So if you're alive, hold on to those tickets or check your account just in case. Now, race number 4 here, we do got a stakes race a little later on in the card that will feature Ginobili. That will be race number 9, the 5th season. I thought that was a very good race. Soy Tapatio from the rail is another horse in there that I thought had a chance. You know, this race number 4, it looks like a 2-horse race on paper between 2 Eagles River and the 5 Verifying. The 5 Verifying coming out of the Breeders' Cup where Forte won that race. The horses that have come out of that race have run well. You know, I was talking to Brad Cox, assistant, and he told me, listen, hopefully we have a better day than we had yesterday, and he had a good feeling. The horse was really tucked up and looked very, very fit for this race. The 2 Eagles River, you know, this horse was monstrous last time out. The issue with him is that he has a tiny bit of a gate issue, and if he can get out of the gate a little bit better this time, he's going to be tough. He bobbled pretty bad. I think that took a little bit of steam out of him to get to the front end. But my price horse, not price horse, is the one Gun Pilot. I thought this horse looked well on the racetrack, gets Lasix. Steve Massman's horse is starting to turn around here. He had a horse run really well a little bit earlier in the card. And Gun Pilot getting Lasix, probably going to go to the front end. I think it's the main danger between the 2 and the 5. The 5 is the horse to beat, Verifying, and I think, JK, you agree with me as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, I wish I had something creative to say, but, I mean, unfortunately, I don't. I mean, Verifying is supposed to win this race. People liked this horse, thought he was interesting, showing up at Keeneland, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. You look at the price that day, right? He was 16-1. But that's because the world didn't believe that Cave Rock could lose. I was one of those people. Ask my Breeders' Cup betting challenge entry that went to 0 after that race. I didn't think Cave Rock could lose. Also, if you did think Cave Rock could lose, you didn't think Forte could lose. So the fact that he was 16-1 that day is not an indication of what I feel like the public thought Verifying's chances were of winning. I think Verifying's a real horse, and I think he'll show it here in a couple of minutes.
So here we go. Back as a 3-year-old for the first time here, Verifying, and yet before that, Breeders' Cup Juvenile, second grade 1 Champagne after winning his debut.
I'm betting a 5-4 in this race. Gunflash comes out of the Springboard Mile at Remington Park, where I think the second place finisher is very good. And I think that I know it was a very slow pace that day. And I think this horse ran a little bit better than it looks. I don't expect Verifying to lose in this race. I worry about 2 Eagles River coming back on such short rest, you know what I mean, that I'm kind of against that horse. So I'm going to try a small 4 or 5 box, but a big press on the 4 or 5 exact.
Yeah, 2 Eagles River, the 2, ran December 31st, so coming back here in 14 days for not just the hottest barn in Oaklawn, maybe the hottest barn in the country right now, Chris Hardman.
Yeah, I was very surprised to see him back in here, to be honest. They must be in a hurry to stretch him out, and a lot of times that just doesn't work out. I agree that Verifying is one to beat.
Race prior to that, missed by a head to victory formation for Brad Cox, who's 3 for 3. Could be a Triple Crown contender for him. They think so. As we wait on record point to load, Vic Stauffer the call. Race 4 from Oaklawn.
They're at the post. They're off. Gun Pilot and Verifying shows speed. Two Eagles River was slow into stride, and now he just brushed Gun Flash. Then Judo, and the early trailer is Wrecker Point. It's Gun Pilot at the clubhouse turn. He leads Verifying by just over a length. Two Eagles River is now a rank and pumped up third, in behind the leaders and two from the front. Judo's just outside of him, and Wrecker Point will be 3 wide to the backstretch. And now the trailer is Gun Flash as they turn into the backstretch. Finish line is the 16th pole, and Gun Pilot is the leader. Verifying is much closer now in second, and he's tugging Martin Garcia up outside of the front running Gun Pilot. Gun Pilot leads by a neck from Verifying in second. Two Eagles River and Judo are right together, third and fourth, both with chances, two from the front. 2.5 back to Wrecker Point and Gun Flash. They race past the half-mile pole. Gun Pilot continues to lead. No excuses for Verifying. He is right alongside and on the attack. Two Eagles River still just in behind the lead. Judo is now put to a drive and not responding. 4 back to Wrecker Point. Top of the stretch, Verifying makes his move. Verifying has taken it over at the top of the stretch. He's a half length in front of Gun Pilot in second. Two Eagles River not responding yet. He's 3 from the front, and Verifying comes slingshotting off the top of the turn. He's got a 2-length lead now on Gun Pilot in second. Two Eagles River is third, and Wrecker Point is fourth, but it's Verifying, and now he's running it up. Verifying in front. Verifying won by 5 in the end. Gun Pilot, good second. Two Eagles River third. Wrecker Point finished fourth.
I think that performance serves to flatter Forte a little bit. Breeders' Cup Juvenile winner who handled this horse pretty easily with a troubled trip. Welcome to those, who just joined us on Bally Sports SoCal and San Diego. You're watching America's Day at the Races. Greg Wolf, Andy Serling. That was the fourth from Oaklawn, where we have later today tremendous stakes race in the 5th season.
I agree. 5th season's a very fun race. One of a lot of people's favorites. Radar Superstar looks to get some pace, see if he can win another race. And as far as Verifying, he just won. I wonder, he could be the best Justify out there, right? I can't think of a lot of really good Justifies. Unless there could be one in California. I shouldn't say that I'm not that familiar with. But he seems like a very promising horse.
See him back in Triple Crown prep, potentially off that performance. Tampa Bay Downs this afternoon. Here's the stakes schedule ahead. The Pasco is next. We'll have that for you live. Wayward Last and the Gasparilla as well. And we're going to check in with Acacia Clement in just a little bit. Let's give you the post parade for this 6th here. 7/8 of a mile in this stakes race near Shaq Diesel getting Lasix.
Yeah, sorry, I have to get myself caught up in the Wayward Last. Sorry, now I'm in the 7th race. I'm looking at the 6th. Excuse me, Greg. I'm a mess here. I guess, gets Lasix for the first time. Maybe that'll help out, but didn't really run that well against these last time.
Loco Abario next door, back-to-back wins, and had to essentially break the maiden twice.
Yeah, I'm not sure why he was so short in the morning line. He's taking a big jump up. Yeah, he's won maiden races. He's been in maiden claiming races. This is a step up, but he ran okay last time.
Handsome Playboy, nice win, but this is a tougher test.
I agree, but I don't think there should be that big a discrepancy between his odds and the odds of Champion's Dream. I'm not Champion's Dream's biggest fan.
This is Champion's Dream, and Mark Casse, trainer, said this could be a setup for the Sam F. Davis.
Right. I'm sure Mark's already got him earmarked for the Derby. He's not getting there. It's going from Danny Gargan to Mark Casse. Danny wins at a pretty high percentage, and he won the Nashua, but it was a slow race and not a strong field.
Stablemate went by for Casse, back-to-back wins at Woodbine, and then here's the 6, Zydeco.
Yeah, the problem with Zydeco is he just seemed a little slow for these, and he's another speed. I thought they might be moving a little bit up front, helping set it up for the 3 and 4. I'm going to try to upset the favorite, Champion's Dream, with the 3, Handsome Playboy.
So 4-1 on Handsome Playboy. All the money. Public heavily backing, though, Champion's Dream. Let's go back to Acacia Clement.
And we'll take a look at the 2 for Mark Casse, one of which by Justify, and that is Champion's Dream. And Andy, I've noticed that a lot of the best Justifies I've seen have really fared well on the turf. This horse, however, a dirt horse, and he does make his first start for Mark Casse, coming back after that win in the Nashua last time out. He's always been an energetic type and went right off away from the pony, throwing his head high up in the air, just as I've seen him do in the past. He's incredibly fit coming in here today. It wasn't the fastest rendition of the Nashua, but he was one that was continuing on with that relentless late kind of grinding run, and he has settled down now after his big warm-up out there on the track. However, I am more intrigued by Mark Cassie's other horse in here, Armstrong. The question is going to be the main track, which he will take on for the first time, having only ever run on the Tapeta up at Woodbine. And in his pedigree on the bottom side, the dam was a multiple stakes winner, but she only ran on turf and synthetic. And the siblings have won on all 3 surfaces, mostly turf and synthetic, but a couple who have won some lower level races on the main track. But this is a big, good-looking son of Mucho Macho Man. He looks like he will appreciate the added furlong today, getting to go the 7 furlongs, and will only flourish as he gets to go even longer. He's so well muscled. He's handled himself so professionally out there. I really liked everything that I saw from him. He does have a little bit of a flatter type of hoof. Again, that surface going to be a question, but physically, he was definitely a big standout. I agree with Andy, though, about Handsome Playboy. I like this horse. Super Chow, who beat him in the inaugural 2 starts back, has won 4 in a row, including 3 stakes, and came back to win another one after that. And I thought last time out, Handsome Playboy ran quite well. I did notice in the chart that they said he was reluctant loading, and today he was very difficult to get the tack on in the paddock, and they had to saddle him on the walk. It's my first time seeing him in the flesh. Once they got the tack on, he has settled a bit, but do keep an eye on that and how he breaks, because him being forwardly placed could be the key if he gets in that good stalking position, Greg.
All right, Acacia, thank you. Heavy favoritism remains with Champion's Dream. Moved to Mark Cassie from Rosedown Racing, had been with Danny Gargan. And yeah, Cassie believes for both these horses, potentially a setup for that February 11th Sam F. Davis. We'll see if they're good enough.
He's always optimistic, and you listen, that's what you got to be as a trainer, I guess. Better than being pessimistic. I'm not betting this horse first time in the dirt. And he's got half to 4 horses that couldn't stand up in the dirt, but maybe this one will handle it.
Meanwhile, Handsome Playboy, the 3, about to step in 4-1 off that impressive effort on this racetrack, and now going to get an extra furlong. That was at 6 furlongs.
I think his rider just jumped off him. I didn't see anything happen, but he appears to have jumped off him. No idea.
Pablo Morales on the 3, Handsome Playboy.
I like Pablo.
And yeah, I believe you see him there back with those white silks with the blue chevrons. You had being told the horse reared a bit. And
yeah, it didn't seem that bad. Probably heard I bet him. I didn't understand what upset him. Yeah. So when is but this is fairly close to the Sam Davis, right? When is the Sam Davis?
February 11th. So
it's pretty, I guess 4 months. It's a 4 weeks. No, it's 4 weeks. It's 4 weeks, I guess. Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, he is a little obstreperous, isn't he? Look at him.
See if the starting gate crew can get him settled down. 1, 2 already loaded. 4, big favorite, looking on, seeing the bad actor get all this attention, and it's not affecting him at all. He stayed amazingly calm here. And they get the 3 in. Favorite loads next. It is the Pasco from Tampa Bay Downs. Let's go to Jason Beam for the call.
As we just await Armstrong and Zydeco, the final pair. We're just about set for a start in the Pasco. Armstrong moving up. Zydeco, Samuel Marin to the outside to complete the line. Zydeco goes in. They're in the gate. And the race is on in the Pasco Stakes. Zydeco from the outside broke brilliantly and goes right to the front at once. Armstrong down toward the inside. Loco, Barrio, Shaq Diesel also coming up between horses. Handsome Playboy had to tap on the brakes momentarily there and goes all the way back to last as Champion's Dream moves around that one. But Zydeco, Loco, Barrio, those 2 onto the main course, and they've opened up 2 lengths on Shaq Diesel, who's out in 3rd. Armstrong in the pink colors. In between horses, that one stablemate Champion's Dream. Right to his outside is 5th and only 2.5, 3 off the lead. Another length and a half then back to Handsome Playboy, who continues to fight a little bit there, is 4 off the pace as they go up the back stretch. 22 and 3 for the opening quarter mile of the Pasco. They go by that half-mile pole. Zydeco and Loco Barrio, those 2 been 1-2 for much of the journey. Champion's Dream starts to warm up on the outside, is now up to 3rd, goes by the stablemate Armstrong. Handsome Playboy is starting to launch from the back, is up to 5th right now, going by Shaq Diesel, who drops out last. Zydeco, the leader, midway on the far turn. Loco Barrio, here's Champion's Dream on the outside. Champion's Dream now up to second. Trying to come after Zydeco, who's the leader at the quarter pole. Zydeco to the top of the stretch with Samuel Marin in front by just over a length. Champion's Dream in second. Handsome Playboy starts to move up in between runners. Armstrong dropped right out of it to last. A final furlong left to go. Zydeco still in command. It's Zydeco by the 8th pole, in front by a length and a half. Champion's Dream is second. 2.5, 3 more back to Handsome Playboy and Loco Barrio, but a final 16th to go. Zydeco, Champion's Dream trying to get on level terms. Here's Champion Dream's inside of Zydeco. Zydeco still just in front. Champion's Dream surging late as they come to the wire. Zydeco look to hold on. Champion's Dream valiant, but second best, long way back to a photo for third between Shaq Diesel, Handsome Playboy, and Loco Barrio.
Looked like on a couple of occasions in this stretch run that the favorite Champion's Dream was going to get by Zydeco. Source digs in. This is a game performance.
I agree. Comes in from Gulfstream Park, proved that form, broke like a shot, got Lasix for the first time, and those ran very, very well. Made it really, really a very deserving winner this race because I thought he really ran well in here. Champion's Dream had every chance to catch him, and this Justify, not as good as the Justify at Oaklawn.
No. Back to New York. 7 minutes away, race 7, 6 furlong sprint. 50,000 starter allowance race coming up. And a lot of ways to go on this board. The favorite, Jake Rocks, Rob Atras off the claim. Reclaim for him.
If there isn't an honest pace in this race, there will never be an honest pace in New York because the 6 has speed, the 4 has speed, the 7 has speed, the 1 has speed. The 1, I know a horse that I would be interested in if there wasn't so much other speed in this race, though I still think he's a shot at a price. They have to be moving up front, and I think that helps horses like the 2 and 3 who should be closing.
All right, let's head downstairs, check in again with Maggie.
I hope that's what happens, Andy. But yet again, around here, you never quite know what's going to materialize when they pop the latch. But taking a look at Liam's Fire, you know, sometimes when horses try a distance for the first time in a long time, like he did last time when sprinting, they will run their best race, like the first time that they stretch out, conversely. So looking, you know, you wonder, is he going to run the same race? But then again, he might actually just be more of a sprinter, too, looking at him. While he's a big horse, he's very compact. And it seems as though Marisha Shockley, who is experiencing a really nice winter here, kind of, when you turn horses back, you back off their training a little bit. You don't, you know, gallop them as far. You don't breeze them as long, and maybe you put little sweet breezes into him going 3/8. It looks like she's done that because he's carrying better weight than what I've ever seen from him. He's big, robust, like what I'm seeing from him here in the paddock, and he would be the one capitalizing on anything heating up front. Number 4, Upper Level, unfortunately, is a horse with speed, and we'll have to deal with some other speed horses. But Tally Lynch, second off the claim, has him looking, not that he looked poor before by any means, but this is by far the most fit he's ever appeared, and furthermore, the most relaxed and focused. I like the fact that he just seems controlled today, and we'll see if he can harness any of that energy. But, you know, he's going to have to deal with Icky Guy to his outside. He probably is in the worst position as far as dynamics, Greg, but does arguably look best in the paddock.
All right, Maggie, thanks for that report. We'll get to the post parade coming up in a moment. Riders up. I want to remind everybody before we get to the post parade, you can earn a $15 bonus today just by playing with Now Bets. Bet $50 each on Aqueduct, Oaklawn, and Tampa Bay Downs, and you'll get that bonus in your account whether you win or lose. All you have to do is opt in. Don't forget that step. Go to NYRABets.com, opt in, and get that bonus in your NYRABets account. So here we go. Post parade coming up for this 50,000 starter allowance with all this speed lined up. How will this pace play out? Fast and Furious kicks things off. 5-year-old debut coming up.
He ran a race 3 back, I know you remember well, Greg, that would bury this field. And he's had excuses and been against better horses since then, but I don't know if he can work out a winning trip. But he's interesting at that price.
Massive outlier race, that performance.
But he also had massive excuse the next time, and then he met much better horses.
Jeffrey Engelhart with Blinding Light has Dylan Davis aboard.
He's the moto horse. He's a little chilly on the board at 7-2. I'm surprised the same price as this horse. I picked Liam's Fire.
Yeah, 7-2 as well for Marisha Shockley. Here's Upper Level with speed for Tally Lynch.
Yeah, he's got speed. I just don't like him. I don't know which surface he's better on. Maybe he's sort of equitalented, and he might just be a cut below these.
Gate to wire win for this big long shot last start, 30-1.
He would blow up all multi-race bets.
Icky Guy, Michelle Giangulio claimed off of David Jacobson, near miss last start.
Yeah, but I feel like the horse should have won last time, and this is a tougher spot in my opinion.
More pace with that 6. The 7, Jake Rocks, speed as well.
Is a 3 for 27, going to win 2 straight races.
4-1 on Jake Rocks, Jose Lizcano. Atris, a reclaim, is mentioned for that horse. The 8, Lord Gatling, has won 3 of his last 4.
Hey, a big upset winner at 18-1 last time, the sloppy sealed track. Can he bring it on a dry track? Well, he's run well on dry tracks before, and he drew well outside.
3 minutes to post coming up in the 7th with more on this field. Let's go to JK. How are you going to play it, Jonathan?
Well, I was between the 6 and the 7. The 6, I didn't want to get anyone, it's a Saturday, so people don't have to work, but I didn't want to have to say the ownership name very often. So I ended up picking the 7 in here. This horse ran extremely well last time for Rudy Rodriguez, but now switches to the Rob Atris barn. And I think Rudy does a great job. I think Rob does a great job. I just think that if it doesn't matter who, if Rudy were to claim off of Rob, I would think, this horse could improve a little bit possibly, because that's what Rudy kind of does from time to time. Same with Rob. I just feel like Jake Rocks could take a step forward here. I do think the 6 is extremely live and a very nice price. I thought the horse would go off a little bit shorter, but I'm ultimately going to side with the 7, Jake Rocks, for a couple of reasons. One, of course, is drawn outside of his main competition, which is something that I've always felt comfort with as a horse player, being outside of a horse that I'm fearful of, a horse that I think that can beat me. I think that an outside trip, as long as you're not overly wide, is a trip that's a little bit more controlled, where the rider and the horse have a little bit more options. The other thing I like about this horse is that he ran well off of a little bit of a break. And you like to think that second off a layoff, he'll take another step forward and run even better in here. So I'm going to go with the 7, Jake Rocks, in here, but I don't want to ignore the 6, whose name I won't try to pronounce, but I will say that he's owned by 10 Strike.
Ikigai?
Are you asking?
No, I think it's Ikigai.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if you think so and I think so, it can't possibly be right.
Probably a good call. Liam's Fire, we're looking at 9-2 in here for Amir Shishakli. The only 2 times this horse, 6-year-old now, has sprinted, it's been a win, and it's been a second with 2 of the biggest figures the horse has ever run.
And he's going to get pace to run out this time. He's not the 20-1 he was last week, but he's still an interesting horse, and I picked him because I didn't want to pick the 2 at a third or a half the price. One thing that worries me about Liam's Fire, I don't like horses when the second time after the turn back, He ran well in the turn back last time. Will he have that same kick? But I just think they have to be moving up front in this race, and I'm hoping he can take advantage of it. Either the 2 and 3 were the right horses in here, and if I was going to use a speed, I would throw in the rail horse, Fast and Furious, and just sort of close my eyes, hope for the best. I think he's too big a price for a horse that ran as fast as he did 3 times ago.
Quickly, let's go back to Maggie.
Just want to talk about Ikigai here. He's number 6, first off the claim from Michelle Giangiulio. I did want to note an equipment adjustment with him in that for previous connections, his 3 starts in New York, he was wearing full or 3/4 cut blinkers, and Michelle's cut him all the way back to just a very short cut cheater blinker today. He's very relaxed, which he has been in the past. I loved his warm up with Kendrick aboard. I mean, he framed himself up really nicely, is moving very efficiently. We'll see. As JK pointed out, at least he's the speed drawn outside, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thanks. Here we go, loading up. There's Fast and Furious, one of the many speeds in this race. Certainly looks like the 2 and the 3 are horses that could benefit from all these horses that want to be forward. But who's going to try and take command early?
If they're not moving early in this race, I give up. It just seems like there has to be a pace around. But around here, you never know. One goes and they all grab. We'll see.
That price has come down, by the way, in the 2, Blinding Light.
Isn't he supposed to be a short price in here? I think I just want to get some better horses. Thought he's perfectly logical. He's never won in the dirt.
Upper level, stepping in. A few more days of the weight break for the apprentice Jose Gomez.
And then it's the very, very promising Jason Wayas. Get all the attention as a bug rider.
We're set. Let's go to Chris Griffin for race 7.
And they're off. Broken a pretty even line, but breaking out where there was Lord Gatling out in the far outside. In between horses, Ikigai's got early speed, Jake Rocks, and now straightening up, here comes Lord Gatling, is going to challenge for 3rd to the outside of Upper Level, who's driven along at the rail as they share that 3rd and 4th position. In between horses, Clash AJ is in 5th. At the rail there is Blinding Light, who's in 6th. The 2 at the back, Liam's Fire, and the trailer is Fast and Furious. On the front end, it's Ikigai, and Ikigai went 23-1 for that opening quarter mile. Ikigai will take him into the far turn. Jake Rocks is in pursuit, is right there in second. Lord Gatling is under a drive towards the outside, upper level, splitting those rivals. Here comes Clash AJ, and Clash AJ is about to take third. Blinding Light in behind them. Second to last is still Liam's Fire, and far back, Fast and Furious. Ikigai is in command with a quarter mile left to go. Kicks for home. 46-4 was that half-mile time for Ikigai. Ikigai is up by 2.5 lengths. Jake Rocks continues to chase. Down to the inside is upper level. On the far outside, Lord Gatling trying to split rivals late. Here comes Blinding Light. Ikigai and Jake Rocks has not given up the chase. Ikigai trying to put it away. Jake Rocks is now lunging late. Jake Rocks is going to push on by. Jake Rocks will get the score. Jake Rocks over Ikigai, upper level, and Blinding Light in 1 minute 12.08 seconds.
Ikigai leading for about 3/4 of this race, and then Jake Rocks comes, gets him, and reels him in. Rob Atras, a reclaim for him.
Yeah, and it's funny because Rob had absolutely no success with this horse before when he had him, but I guess the way Rob's barn's going right now, it doesn't really seem to matter what happened in the past with some of his runners. And it just didn't seem like he was going to get it done, but for the first time in his life, he got awfully game in here to run him down. And in a race where there was abundance of speed on paper, they waltzed around the racetrack and the speeds ran 2-1 in here. No surprise, and that time compares favorably to Linda Rice's and Lady Sheila's first-time star in the prior race who won so easily. And these are the kind of horses that can run Beyer figures of around 80, so good for that horse. But
yeah, 112.08
no
here. It was 112.53 for Downtown Mischief in a debut.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Up 2.5 lengths.
We're going to get back to Oaklawn when we return. Maiden special weight in race 5, 6 furlong sprint. Coming up, we'll have the post parade when we come back from this short timeout.
Here comes Malathon. Here comes Clariere on the outside. They're coming to the finish, and it's going to be Clariere. Nest, much the best. She won by better than 10 lengths. Cody's Wish on the outside. Cody's Wish with the upset in the Fargo. Malathon grabs the lead in deep stretch, and Malathon has won the Personal Ensign Stakes.
Curling, the classic sire.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets.
It's a domineering display by the ultra-talented McKenzie. McKenzie in a dominant performance.
300 Honda, 300,000. 275, you leave 275,000. 75, but we get 75, 275,000. 250, I'm Ralph now, 250,000. Able to get $200,000.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Back with you on America's Day at the Races. Staten Island Ferry. Going right on by Lady Liberty. Great, probably the best spot to see it in New York.
Yeah, that's fair. I agree. Unless you just go to the island and see it yourself.
Program brought to you by Naira Bets, where you can play all the action. We have race 5 coming up next. This maiden special weight, 6 furlong sprint, so nobody's won in this group. And we're going to see the entire field here coming up. Thou, the 4. Even money on the board. Steve Asmussen, who has shockingly had an incredibly slow meet to this point. We'll see if we can get going here. Tyrona kicks things off. Kim Poole has brought home a couple of long shots this past couple of weeks.
This one would be as unlikely as any of them. Wait, I'm on the wrong horse.
Tyrona, the 3 started.
I'm sorry, Tyrona, excuse me. I've agreed. This horse have to improve, but in the second start, Vallejo, sorry.
She's a pistol. Went by Tyler Bay's Steve Hobby.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, she's overmatched. Sorry.
Church Service the 2 at 13-1.
She's just had too many chances at 0 for 17 for me, but she's run fast enough to compete.
6 seconds in there as well. We go to the 4. Here's the favorite, Vow.
A very short price on a barn that's a little bit in the chilly side. The horse to beat, but even money's a little short for me.
Now, it looked early on like Fabulous Fanny might have a future. It has not panned out.
I do think, though, that she is an interesting alternative. You get a trainer switch to Steve Hobby, and I'm going to bet on her.
Ron Moquette having a great meet. Stellar Lily, this is start number 4.
Yeah, she's stretching out to 6 furlongs, 2 at 5.5. Thought she'd have to improve, but not impossible.
Tales of Home for Dallas Stewart's going to cut back in distance.
She cuts back after losing badly at 1-2 at 1 1/16, getting back to a distance where she ran okay first time out.
Chartreuse at 26-1.
She would have to improve immeasurably.
She was 5-1 last time out.
I'm not sure why. Can you tell?
No, maybe it was a weak field. Candy Caramel outside has been out on the West Coast on turf for the most part exclusively.
There are 2 dirt races, though they were. Her first 2 starts at 5 furlongs were just abysmal. I don't know why she's taking so much money, to be honest.
Peter Miller trains 6-1 on that outside filly. Let's go to Paula Duca for more on race 5.
Yeah, race 5 here, a little bit difficult. And if you're live in your pick 5s, you're going to get paid. I think the lowest you can get is to Vow, the 4 in here. I want to say it's like 7,000, somewhere in that area for 50 cents. So hopefully you're live, you can get that home. Now the 4 Vow came off a long layoff and ran a very good race. You know, she just didn't really break that well. And she sort of like got on her feet real quick and got to just settle a little bit. It looked to me like Gaffleon wanted to try to go towards the lead, and he decided just to kind of settle down and then make one run. Now, they did go 21-2 and 45, so she kind of got a little bit of a setup that day and did not win the race. So do you want to take even money? You know, usually Steve's horses off long layoffs, or in general, first-time starters, they usually run better second time out, like the one horse in the last race. I think Val can improve, but I don't know if you want to take even money. The 7 Tales of Home, Dallas Stewart always loved this horse, and when he lost his first race, I was at Churchill Downs, he was very upset because I think he made a decent bet on the 7. And then they stretched this horse out, and this horse loses at 2-5 going to the front end. Now, right back to sprinting. Sometimes I hate that. Maybe that's going to dull the speed of Tales of Home. And usually Dallas horses come from way off the pace, and I don't know at 5-1, but the horse does figure. I thought the 6 looked tremendous on the racetrack, Stellar Lily. She could be the speed of the speed in here, especially if the 4 and the 7 kind of, you know, don't break in here. The 6 could be loose on the league. Ron Moquette's barn has been rolling. The first 2 starts, or at least the first start of her career, she didn't break well. Her last start, she broke sharply. I think she can get away from this group, or at least hit the front end and be very dangerous at 9-2.
Ollie, thanks. Yeah, Stellar Lily the 6. She faced a good one, too, named Classy Bridget, who we just saw win yesterday. Extremely impressive for Chris Hartman. She's won back-to-back starts now. And looks like Chris Hartman is going to potentially put her on the Oaks Trail and stretch her out.
Wow. It was after I left. I like the 5 a little bit, but I could see the 4 or 6. Obviously, the 4 is probably the one to beat, but I don't think the 6 impossible.
Race 5 from Oaklawn Park. Set to go. Let's go to Vic Stauffer.
They're at the post. They're off. Stellar Lily broke well. She's a Pistol and Tales of Home are close up. Tyrona is next. Chartreuse and Candy Caramel. Then Vow and Fabulous Fanny. And the trailer is Church Service. Stellar Lily joined by She's a Pistol. And She's a Pistol takes over the lead. A half length to Stellar Lily in second. Tyrona is third and a length and a half from the front with Tales of Home just outside of her. Vow has moved up into fifth now in the white cap and about 4 from the front. She's a neck in front of Caramel Candy. 2 lengths to Chartreuse and Church Service. Fabulous Fanny is now the trailer, and the leader is her stablemate, She's a Pistol. She's a Pistol, Stellar Lily, and a 3-wide Tales from Home. And there goes Tales from Home to make a move for the front. Vow is going to try to follow her. She's 2.5 off the lead, and they run to the top of the stretch with Tales from Home and Stellar Lily. They're matching strides 3 lengths in front of Tyrona. Vow has got to go from there. She's still 4 from the front. Then She's a Pistol. Tales from Home has the lead. Tyrona now coming after her. Looks like it's down to these 2, Tales from Home and Tyrona. Tales from Home a length. Tyrona second. Tales from Home in front. Tales from Home beat Tyrona. Stellar Lily was third, and Vow finished fourth.
One of the great personalities in racing, Dallas Stewart, gets a win here. Third time the charm for this 4-year-old filly. Tails of home.
The cutback worked here, and she got it done over the 6 who ran well, and the 3. Tyrone almost blew things up. Absolutely nothing from the number 4, Vow. My worst fabulous Fanny was eased after bolting on the turn. I feel like that's what my comment should be on me, bolting.
3-horse Tyrona. Kim Poole again. And it does not win this race. Consistently with monster prices making an impact.
Claimed this horse for $30,000 at Keeneland. Ran nowhere in a maiden special weight. Comes back and almost wins at a huge price.
Wayward last. We're at Tampa Bay Downs. Mile on a 16th. Phillies mares 4 and up. And here's Beth Stream, 5-2.
Yeah, I mean, the morning line was foolish. She was never going to be favored over Past the Champagne, but I think she's a very dangerous rival. At 5-2, I prefer her. They're the only 2 in here.
Had 3 consecutive wins dating back to 2021 and kicking off 2022. Bow Draw, been in the money in 4 of 6 career starts. Big price.
Yeah, she's massively over her head as a non-winner, eligible for non-winners of 1.
Minnesota bred showing up here, Molly's Angel.
She did win at Tampa, but she was running figures in the 70s, and it's hard to imagine that that's a figure that would make her competitive here. I'm surprised she's single-digit odds.
Here's Beachfront Bid for Tom Albertrani.
Tommy Albertrani claimed this one from Chad Brown and had a little bit of success, but the going's tougher here.
Miles of Smiles, Joe Orsino trains.
I mean, I'm not sure how you make a case for this horse, another horse that's eligible for a non-winners of 1. Been running above her head in all her races. No, I'm not wrong about that, sorry.
4-1 Tap Dance Fever, Jose Ferrer for Gerald Bennett.
She won an off-the-turf race against a subpar field last time, and overall her races aren't good enough. She probably stalks the number 1 a little bit.
And then Past the Champagne, 6-5 favorite, 2 wins, 2 seconds in 5 starts.
Yeah, I'm obviously it's a 2-horse race between her and the 1 and 7. Obviously, she can win, but for my money, this was a very, very promising 3-year-old that the wheels just came off. I mean, she's off after the Preakness. After the Kentucky Oaks for 9 months. She comes back with a slow figure, and no, that was a terrible field she beat, just atrocious field, and now she's off again for nearly a year. I am never going to bet these horses at short prices. I know that she's the best horse somewhere in there, and I hope she runs well for Connections, who I like, but I would never take this horse the favorite. I prefer the 1.
She'll have to do it again, as Andy mentioned, after a very long layoff. Let's go to Acacia for more.
Yeah, some questions to answer today as far as Past the Champagne is concerned. Reading some quotes from trainer George Weaver, he said that they had given her some time for some bone bruising, and then she had gotten sick, and it was just one little thing after another. Unfortunately, she's been very tough to keep on the racetrack. I have seen her in 3 out of her 5 starts, so a little bit familiar with this now 5-year-old mare, and she has grown and filled into herself. I will say she's incredibly fit coming back off of that layoff from February of last year, and now being down in Florida, it's nice that we have some XBTV opportunities too, so you can watch her most recent work on XBTV at Palm Beach Downs, where George Weaver is stabled for the winter, and she was going by herself. She was asked a little bit to finish up in that 5-furlong drill, but she was always doing it well. She was always kind of attacking that work, and I thought finished up pretty strong, with some mild urging at the end to gallop out strongly too, to put those miles in and come back for fitness sake. So we'll see what we get from her in here today. She beat nobody last time out. There are some other questions as far as the other logical contenders in this spot as well. She could just be the class, and physically she looks like she's ready. I am intrigued to see the number 1 Beth Dream back, though. She's one I'm also familiar with, and she is very quick. Now, she did win off of a layoff previously, but that was in a maiden claiming for 16,000. But she's held her own even back at Monmouth, running just a head behind leader of the band last summer. Now, last time out in that Molly picture, it did seem that something went wrong. She was running against some super tough competition in that most recent effort, and then bolting there and fading, and we haven't seen her since then. She's carrying a little bit more condition than I have seen from her in the past. Victor Barbosa's horses do tend to have a lot of good substance coming over in the afternoons for the races, and I'd say she's about 90% fit, but she has the inside post, she's fast, and her regular rider, or one of her regular riders for the barn, Misael Jaramillo, and a very strong gate rider will be aboard her, and he's certainly had her on her toes in the preliminaries in here today. The number 4, Beachfront Bid, yes, she's stepping up as well. She's definitely facing much tougher, but She's a horse that I had noticed over the summer that she hadn't really been handling herself well, holding her condition from race to race. And I have to say that she's done very well coming down here to Florida. She's had one work over the local track here, being based at Tampa for Tom Albertrani. She's had great energy, really, really strong coming into this race. It's going to be a tall order for her between the inside and outside runners, but I do think that it looks like she's certainly doing well right now. But 2-1 now to the outside on Pass the Champagne. And Jonathan, can imagine you got a bottle chilled and waiting?
Oh, yeah, and look, I mean, even if I lose, I'll probably open the bottle of champagne. Look, full disclosure, I'm a huge fan of this horse. One of my best friends in the world is the part owner of this horse, black type thoroughbreds. But I followed her journey, so I'm just familiar with her. It's why I speak with such confidence. Look, I liked her in the Kentucky Oaks that day. She just had a horrible trip. She was beat by a horse by Malathaat, who was a champion. She should have won the Grade 1 Ashland with a little bit more luck. I think she could have won that race. I just think she's facing horses that she's better than. Andy points out, he makes a very great observation. I mean, she clearly had issues, right? Like, she did not run particularly well in her last race. The figure was not fast. She won, but the figure wasn't fast. And Andy and I both subscribe to speed figures. And in a normal situation, I would probably be a little bit against her based off of that. But getting 345 days off since then, it makes you feel like she probably ran slower than she's probably capable of for a reason. What she did as a 3-year-old, running fast figures in multiple races, you have to think that somewhere deep down inside there is some talent. And the fact that George brings her back here, runs at Tampa going 2 turns off of a break, Keisha mentions that she looks fit, I just think we're going to see the best Pass the Champagne. I'm just not crazy about the horse on the rail as well, which also gives me a little bit more confidence. This horse comes in off 175 days rest. I'm talking about the one Beth's Dream. 175 days break. And one thing that I thought was a little bit curious, after all of that break, for a 5-year-old who's run 7 times, her last work was from the gate. That just seems a little bit kooky to me.
She's the 6-5 favorite, though, Beth Stream, and she did come off the bench off a long layoff over a year to run one of the biggest figures she's ever run. So that's a positive sign.
No, and she met search results last time. I was one of the best older fillies and mares in the country last year. I don't love her chances. It's just very hard to make cases for anybody other than the 1 and 7. And I hope for the connections to 7 she runs well because, John is right, she once was very good.
Right-hand side of your screen, Road to the Kentucky Oaks coming up at Aqueduct with the Busanda. Todd Pletcher sending out 2 fillies to try and win a 6th edition of this race, but it is Chad Brown with a Colts. He brought up search results from that same barn. He hopes he has the next really good filly in his barn coming up with this improving youngster making the 3rd start of her career. She's the 2 we'll get a look at in a bit.
Yeah,
She's surprisingly not the favorite. I'm
very surprised. It may well change by the time we get to post time. It may just be these odds are sort of skewed here with no CAW money. I'm surprised by those odds. I think a Colt is the worst to beat. And, I think a Firm Lady has a chance to be okay as well. But I think on this racetrack, a Colt's supposed to be tough to beat.
There is a Colt, and very likely by the time gates open, she could be the favorite. It's a maiden though right now, but a maiden who just missed in a Grade 2 against the highly regarded Julia Shining, who is the one to beat.
And I just realized why I thought you were saying that Chad Brown has a Colt in here.
I know, it gets me every time too. It's all week long.
And I looked over at you, and it finally dawned on me. So.
OCCULT, a Colt, who is a 3-year-old filly. Back to Tampa, Wayward Last. Mile and a 16th coming up. Beth Stream from the rail. Pass the Champagne from the outside. Both coming off lengthy layoffs. Let's go to Jason Beam.
Here's Tap Dance Fever, Jose Ferrer. Pass the Champagne and Hector Diaz Jr., the final one to join. Pass the Champagne coming in. They're in the gate. And rearing up there was the number 5, Miles of Smiles. Smiles back. We do have a late scratch here in today's 7th race, the Wayward Lass. On advice of the veterinarian and by order of the steward, scratch number 5, Miles of Smiles. Number 5, Miles of Smiles, is a late scratch. There will be refunds on all win, place, show, exacta, trifecta, superfecta combinations.
So as you heard, 5 will be coming out with those issues at the gate in the Wayward Lass. Again, right-hand side of your screen. In the paddock for the Busanda on the road to this year's Kentucky Oaks, 20 points to the winner. Still this one, the maiden Affirmative Lady for Graham Motion, who is favored, pretty solidly favored at 3-2 right now.
Yeah, I'm confused by that. I'm confused with what's going on at Tampa. I mean, I'm not sure. Yeah, we'll take a look at a Colt winning last time out. To me, she's the controlling speed. She ran the fastest race last time, and she's the worst to beat. I don't think a game is ever that simple, but in her case it is. And I also don't know that we know Affirmative Lady. Maybe Affirmative Lady moved up in a wet track last time. They keep saying she wants more distance. She got passed in her race 2 back. She got passed by that Songbird horse who came back and ran poorly, Magical Song. And maybe she just didn't come back and run well, and something went wrong with her. But she got passed trying to close into that race. We'll see. Affirmative Lady might be okay. I just think Colt is a much more likely winner. I'm surprised at the odds. And the way things are going at Tampa, they'll be going off on top of us.
That Demoiselle, by the way, look, it was at 1 1/8 miles. Obviously, she only beat a neck to one who's considered to be very good. So you would think the distance right up her alley. But a Colt, pedigree-wise, shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
And as you said, should be controlling.
And as the controlling speed, the stretch from the 1-turn mile race to the 2-turn mile and 1/8 race is an advantage. You're better off going longer, controlling on the front end in what is likely to be an extraordinarily moderate pace. So it actually favors her in there, and it works against Affirmative Lady, who doesn't have the speed that she does.
Bring you as much of this post parade from the Busanda right-hand side of your screen as we can. This is Gambling Girl, 1 of 2 for Pletcher.
Yeah, she ran so well in the Affirmative Lady race. One of the reasons I question it, but maybe she improved. They often do for Todd, but she's got a lot of chances.
Here's the second choice, a Colt for Chad Brown.
Supposed to try to wire the field.
3-2 favorite, the maiden who just missed in the grade 2, Demoiselle, the 3.
Could some of the money be Manny Franco money at this point, Greg?
Possibly.
I wonder a little bit.
Sweetest Princess
Same.
went by, and Aniston, the other Todd Pletcher's a really slow time, but it was at 1 1/8 miles in a maiden win.
Yeah, I just think she's woefully slow.
We are back to Tampa. Again, late scratch of the 5. They move all those post positions over. Set for the Wayward Lass. Let's go back to Jason Beam.
They're in the gate. And the race is on in the Wayward Lass. Caught him in a good line. Best Dream from the inside, sent for speed. Here's Past the Champagne from the outside, so the 2 favorites. 1-2 as they go by the wire the first time around. They quickly go a length and a half in front. A Beachfront Bid who was away cleanly in 3rd. That one's inside. Beau Draws back in the 4th spot. Molly's Angel and Tap Dance Fever. They race together 5th and 6th. At about 5.5 off the pace setters up front. It's Beth's Dream in front by a half. Past the Champagne under a good hold, but right up alongside now. Past the Champagne draws within a neck of Beth's Dream as they go on to the back stretch. A length and a half in front. A Beachfront Bid can't complain about the trip. Is 3rd, just in behind the favored duo. It's a break of 3.5 more then. Back to Tap Dance Fever, who races in 4th. Molly's Angel with 1 beat, and that's Beau Draw at the back. They continue up the backstretch, the opening quarter in 23 2/5 seconds. Beth's Dream just a neck in front. Past the Champagne continues to tug willingly in that 2nd position. 2 more then back to Beachfront Bid in 3rd. Tap Dance Fever is 4th. Just got the cue to go after these top 2. Is still about 3.5 or 4 behind. It's 2 more then back to Molly's Angel and Beau Draw at the back. 47 seconds for the opening half mile. Beth's Dream has not gotten a breather yet from Past the Champagne. Up on the outside, Tap Dance Fever draws within a length of the top 2 as Past the Champagne now puts a nose in front. Beth's Dream back to second, but a fresh challenge. Tap Dance Fever on the outside for Past the Champagne. past the Champagne to the top of the stretch. Tap Dance Fever right up alongside. These two square up to the top of the lane. They're two clear of Beth's Dream after that beachfront bid. They have just over a furlong left to go. Tap Dance Fever past the Champagne, digs in down toward the inside. Tap Dance Fever maybe ahead in front. Past the Champagne, Resilient toward the inside. These two past the 16th pole. Tap Dance Fever past the Champagne. Gamus can be down toward the rail. It's Tap Dance Fever past the Champagne. They drive to the finish. Here's the wire photo. Looked like it was Tap Dance Fever past the Champagne. Had to settle for second. Best Dream was third.
Early on, it was a duel between the two big guns in here. Beth Stream past the Champagne, but Tap Dance Fever with the victory for Gerald Bennett. As we get back to New York and the Busanda, and now a Colt has become the slight favorite for Chad Brown and Alpha Delta Stables. Said downstairs to Maggie.
Yeah, we'll check in with a Colt here as she does try this 9 furlong distance for the first time, but I really don't think she'll have any problem with it whatsoever. I thought that the more ground, the better for her from the get-go. Now, she does continue to get stronger, which is always kind of been my slight complaint about her, that she doesn't have that much conditioning behind the saddle or muscle mass, but each race she does take that step forward, and so I appreciate that. And as Andy said, she does look as though she should be controlling here, and last time out, she beat a field that was very strung out. So I always kind of put that into consideration, that she's probably just a bit better, but Affirmative Lady looks great here. Wonder if the sloppy track moved her up just a bit. I want to talk about number 5, Aniston. Going back to her first starts, the only other time I saw her, she was just had such a baby look. She has grown so much. I mean, I literally wrote dumpy in my notes first time out, and she has just become so much more athletic. I do think Andy's right in that she is probably just a bigger, slower type, but at least she has that conditioning in her, winning at this distance, and she's progressing quite nicely here physically. So yeah, she'll have to get faster, but I want to know, JK, you a Jennifer Aniston fan? For me, it was always Courtney Cox.
No, I'll go Jennifer Aniston, but I'll be honest with you, the only thing that popped in my head is I hope you've never had me in your notes as dumpy. That's... Dang, I'm out here. I'm trying. I got a Peloton. I'm doing everything I can do. I mean, come on, the dumpy. Look, I like the 3, Affirmative Lady. I think that what she did in the Demoiselle to just get snapped at the wire like that by Julia Shining. I know it wasn't the fastest race in the world, but she's proven to me that she can get a mile in an 1/8, and I think that says a lot. So, considering the prices, give me the 3, Affirmative Lady. But more importantly, I just hope I'm in no one's notes as dumpy.
About to load up for this Busanda, and this is the maiden, but she's a maiden who was graded stakes placed already at this distance in the Demoiselle back on December 3rd. Not the favorite, though. A Colt has become the one to beat. It's probably the one to catch as well. The 2 at 7-5 for Chad Brown. He'll have Dylan Davis aboard. And, yeah, you never know till they do it. Pedigree, though, says a mile and 1/8 probably should not be a problem.
Well, the configuration, these 2-turn races, and given her, assuming she breaks, her potential advantage as a speed horse, it works. It's in her favor that they're going longer, not against her.
Aniston last to load. Todd Pletcher, he's got the 1, he's got the 5, looking to win a 6th edition of this race on the road to the Kentucky Oaks. Let's go upstairs to Chris Griffin for the call.
6, $187.60. The consolation double, $30.80 to the 5.
And they're off. Step slow for Aniston at the back of the field. A Colt has got early speed, and Sweetest Princess, these two into that first turn. They'll lead him into that first turn in the Busanda. It's going to be Sweetest Princess. Eric Cancel, they've now assumed the front. They're up by a length. A Colt is going to track from second. Then comes Affirmative Lady. Pretty strung out here, the field of 5. Second to last is Gambling Girl, and the early trailer is Aniston. They get set to work to the backstretch. It's Sweetest Princess who's in command, and Sweetest Princess is now settled, is up by 1.5 lengths. A Colt is tracking right there in second. Affirmative Lady is stalking from third. Then Gambling Girl, and still the trailer is Aniston, who's being encouraged to move closer, is now 8 lengths off the lead as they work up the backstretch. Opening quarter mile was 23-4 for Sweetest Princess. The long shot on the front end is still up by 1 length. A Colt is right there tracking in second. Affirmative Lady has lost some ground from third. Gambling Girl moves to her inside. Now they share that third and fourth position. Aniston has trailed throughout as they approach a half mile left to go. Sweetest Princess is trying to pull off the big upset. upset, went 48.77 for a half-mile time. Occult starts to move closer now, is within 3/4 of a length of that leader. Gambling Girl is at the rail, Affirmative Lady, and still too far back to Aniston. They're well into the far turn, and Sweetest Princess is still there. Sweetest Princess went 1:14.1 for 3/4 of a mile. It's Sweetest Princess for a final quarter mile. Occult is ranging up on the outside, and Occult has now taken the lead. Occult now kicks for home. Sweetest Princess is back to second. Gambling Girl in the center of the racetrack with Affirmative Lady. A final furlong left to go. Occult and Dylan Davis trying to put it away. Gambling Girl, the only one with a shot now, is coming after her. Occult approaches the 16th pole, is still up by 3, is drifting out of touch, but Occult, no doubt, will be your winner of the Busanda and wins it nicely. Occult gets the victory over Gambling Girl. Tight here for third. Affirmative Lady in the photo with Sweetest Princess in 1 minute 54.78 seconds.
Not the way I think many expected Occult to get it done. She did not get the lead in this race. Didn't matter. She wins anyway.
But how about giving a little love to Eric Cancel and George Weaver, the connections, for sending Sweetest? She might have actually been third in there, and she looked like the toughest horse to make on paper, but Occult was able to stalk. The first quarter was quick in here on this racetrack today, and Occult took over, and she was just much the best. Gambling Girl's a nice horse, you know. It's very useful New York bred. She's not going to set the world on fire, but I think she sort of keeps getting better and ran well for second. But Occult looked best on paper, and she was best.
And now she collects 20 points to get into the starting gate for this year's Kentucky Oaks. First Friday in May for Chad Brown and Alpha Delta Stables. On the road to the Oaks in Occult with a victory here at 7-5. She does go off the favorite. We'll have the prices for you when we come back. Stay with us. More America's Day at the Races right after this timeout.
Tampa Bay Downs has a rich thoroughbred horse racing history in Florida dating back to 1926. Celebrities such as Babe Ruth, Jack Dempsey, and John Ringling all attended opening day. Saturday, January 14th is Skyway Festival Day. Watch talented 3-year-olds compete in 2 $125,000 stakes races, the Pasco for colts and geldings and the Gasparilla for fillies. Featuring full fields, great turf track racing, and a 15% takeout on our Pick 5, Tampa Bay Downs has live racing every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Back with you on America's Day at the Races. Our program brought to you in part by the champion sprinter Run Happy. Never lost in his career sprinting. Now standing a legendary stall, #1 at Claiborne Farm. Road to the Kentucky Oaks for 3-year-old fillies. We just saw Occult for trainer Chad Brown, Alpha Delta Stables, and Dylan Davis aboard. Able to get the win here in the stakes debut, and she's now won back-to-back starts.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice looking effort. It does seem like the track has sped up a little bit. The times have gotten faster.
Let's head downstairs to Maggie.
Here with Dan Stubb, assistant trainer to Chad Brown. I'm jealous of your hat, Dan, but Occult, she just answers every question with this stretch out and distance. She even kicked away quite nicely from this field at the head of the lane.
Yeah, she's really moved forward in her training. Each race she progresses in the morning. We've been happy with her. She was professional in her maiden win, and she's continued to move forward off it. We saw it in the morning, and glad to see on the stretch out to 1 mile and 1/8 her continue to progress as a 3-year-old now. So.
Were you a little surprised that she wasn't on the lead and that she was able to rate and still show gears?
No, she rated a little bit last time. She doesn't have to have the lead. It looked like we naturally might be in the lead. But Dylan did a great job just settling her, didn't really ask her, just let her get into a rhythm, and she did the rest from there. It was great to get a target, actually. It's nice experience for her. So.
Are you going to progress through these New York kind of road to the Kentucky Oaks?
Let's see. Chad will get with the owner, and we'll evaluate her after the race, and they'll make a decision. So.
Job well done to you and the whole team.
Yeah, great job by the team. Thank you.
Dan Stupp assistant, the man here in the winter for Chad Brown, takes down this Busanda field with a colt. Guys.
And we see this barn year after year after year. He's a finalist again for an Eclipse Award as Outstanding Trainer. Just reload with talent.
Yeah, well, they do a very, very good job. And as Dan was saying, and Chad always says, they have a very, very strong team. So we're looking about 180, we're looking about a 450, a little over about $110 to parlay for 50 cents so far.
Get to the nightcap coming up. Meanwhile, Oaklawn, their late pick 5 begins in this race ahead. 6 furlong sprint. $30,000 claiming race. Let's go to Paula Duca.
Yeah, this does start pick 5, Greg, and it's a difficult sequence unless you consider a couple Brad Cox runners. He has a first-time starter, an Arkansas bred, and he's got a horse also that's making his 3rd start as well. So they're going to be probably favorites. I think the Brad Cox firster might be favored in the next race with a couple others. When you look at this race, the 2 Ash Flats taking all the money. Now, the 6 Gozilla is very, very interesting to me. A horse for Norman McKnight, 6-1 on the morning line. And, Norm's brought a couple horses here. He's had one win out of 7. And most of them have been horses that have come off synthetic. So you're kind of guessing whether they're going to like the dirt or not. But this is a horse that does have 1 win over the dirt. And it has that bullet drill that just stares right in front of your face. December 22nd. 1 out of 101. He outworked 100 horses. So, sometimes you always tell yourself, okay, how did he do it? I really don't care. He outworked 100 horses. So he might take to the turf. He's the danger in here. I thought to the 2, along with the 7 Slam Dunk Sermon. And the reason why, Slam Dunk Sermon's been in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 9 different barns, and he's 11 for 28 lifetime. He just likes to win races. And the Steve Asmussen barn, like I said, is starting to trend a little bit upward now. And it seems like his horses are starting to round back into form. The horse to beat is Ash Flat. The worry that you have, this is a horse that was voided claim, 2 back off the claim from Tom Amos, got to score by a head. Last time out from the 12 hole, really sat a decent trip considering they went very fast and was able to just stay out of trouble and was able to get the job done. Now, with the 4 in here, Full Impact, Gozilla, if she takes to the turf course, or he takes to the dirt, those are 2 horses that could be faster than Ash Flat. So I'm wondering if David Cabrera is going to have to take out of there or he's going to have to commit. That's going to be a critical decision. I do think the 2 is the most likeliest winner. But I'll tell you what, I think the 7's got a big shot in here. A horse that won 11 for 28 lifetime, you can't ignore those type of horses.
Thanks, Paul. Yeah, it's quite a record for Slam Dunk Sermon, and one of those 11 wins actually came last time out for Asmussen here at this meet.
Gozilla, the 6, was favored in the Hopeful for Steve Asmussen, who won it with another horse, actually. Finished 3rd. I think he's getting back to the right surface. We'll see if he's good enough.
Yeah, 9-2 on Gozilla now with Norm McKnight, which is claimed last time out off a different barn. Is long gone from the Asmussen barn. 3-time winner in his career. But Ash Flat comes in off back-to-back wins, figures imposing against this group. 7 for 17 overall. See if he can add another one here to one of the hottest barns in the country, Chris Hartman. Vic Stauffer, the call start of this late pick 5 from Oaklawn.
They're at the post. They're off. Ash Flat wins the break, goes to the front from That Kaheni and Full Impact. Impressed is close up, and Full Impact puts his head in front. Shadow Matter, Looking for Loki, and Slam Dunk Sermon are next, then Gozilla, and the trailer is Lake Radio. Match racing up the backstretch, Ash Flat and Full Impact. And they are stride for stride. Ash Flat at the rail, Full Impact just behind. Then a lineup of 4. Impressed, That Kaheni, Shadow Matter, and a 4-wide Slam Dunk Sermon. A length and a half further back, 2 Looking for Loki, 2 to Godzilla. Lake Radio has trailed throughout, and Ash Flat and Full Impact are still slugging it out up front. Ash Flat at the rail, Full Impact outside. Here's Slam Dunk Sermon within a length and a half of the lead. He's on the move 3 deep. 3.5 back 2. Looking for Loki. Ash Flat has put away Full Impact, but he's got new fresh challengers in Slam Dunk Sermon and Impressed between horses. Ash Flat just in front. Slam Dunk Sermon, Impressed between horses. These 3, Impressed and Slam Dunk Sermon, have passed Ash Flat. Impressed or Slam Dunk Sermon. Impressed, Slam Dunk Sermon, Impressed in front. Impressed beat Slam Dunk Sermon. Ash Flat was 3rd, and Lake Radio rallied for 4th.
Impressed with a win, Christian Torres. Carl Broberg, been a slow meet for him. Wins 2nd off the claim.
This horse is just 4 for 42 with 23 seconds and thirds. Not the kind of horse I get to the winner's circle, but Torres gets it there for Carl Broberg. Nice job, guys.
Ash Flat was in command throughout, but was tested quite a bit from this 4-horse that probably was the undoing of that horse.
Yeah, no, actually ran pretty well in defeat. I mean, that was a tough pace scenario.
Won 7-2-8, I believe. It was tight for 3rd. We'll have the prices coming up. We'll get back to Tampa Bay Downs when we return. More stakes action ahead, but it's a maiden race next. It was scheduled for the grass. Has come off now on the main track. We'll be back right after this.
Level of racing that he's achieved is extremely rare. Anybody who's witnessed Matoli running sees a level of ability that doesn't come along that often.
Matoli's a monster! Matoli wins the sprint! Oh, what a horse he is! Matoli, he did it again! Wins the mid-mile!
The only thing to be better than one Matoli's a few Matolis.
The mighty Matoli, who won the Fargo by 3.5 lengths, the new stakes record.
Back with you on America's Day at the Races, horse racing's favorite alligator. Program brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. So this race meant for the turf. It's taken off main track now to mile and 40 yards. 4-5 favorite. First time starter for Chad Brown here.
I mean, I'm amazed that Chad left this horse in, to be honest. This is a quality road, but the dam is a gigantic turf pedigree. Very, very good Aidan O'Brien turf family. Surprised he left this one in. A Galileo dam.
Big dirt drill out of the gate at Payson. 2 back. Here's Humor Sense, who's 0-7.
Listen, this horse actually hasn't run that badly on the dirt. I mean, this horse should not be 8-1 in here, to be honest with you. Looking at the horses that are running left in this race, why is this horse a big price?
5 went by. He's had 2 starts both on grass, and here's a first-time starter, Domo Arigato.
Taking some money, but once again, another one was entered to run in the dirt, and it's really a turf pedigree also.
Thought you were going to finish it for me, Mr. Roboto. Altira.
Not that quick.
Lasix for start number 2. Debut was on grass.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. They're just taking a shot. It's going to be a big price on the turf, so why not?
And Royal Dame, this one just claimed out of a maiden special weight sprinting on dirt.
She was?
Oh, I'm sorry.
She's coming out of a maiden special weight. Sorry, I was getting a little confused. She ran fast enough in her debut. I think the question with her is how far she wants to go. But I'm going to tell you right now, why is she 9-1 in here, Greg?
Yeah,
I mean, I think the play here, honestly, is to box 310. How's that?
All right, you're abandoning where the public's going with Asprey for Chad Brown. 4-5 favorite with this 2 on your screen right now. Let's go to Acacia for more.
And we'll start there with that first-time starter. She does have all of the makings of a horse that would take quite a bit of money as a firster here, but like Andy said, the pedigree much more suggests turf. Up was a multiple group stakes winner in Europe for Aidan O'Brien and actually ran twice in the Breeders' Cup, both as a juvenile running 4th in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies turf and as an older mare as well. And she's been a good producer too, but largely on turf. And Chad Brown actually did have a half-sibling who only ran once and was beaten just ahead in that start, but that was on synthetic down at Gulfstream. This one, physically, her build suggests much more of a turf type. Now, she is more of an angular, very, very feminine type of build. I do wish for a dirt race she had a little bit more strength in her hindquarters behind the saddle. She's incredibly fit and well prepared coming in here. She just physically strikes me more like she would prefer the turf. Now, as Greg mentioned, those workouts at Payson, that's very, very quick at Payson Park for that surface. So she looks ready. Maybe she's just better than what she faces today, but I would like to see her down the road trying the grass. The number 5, Roman Flame, goes to Amador Sanchez for the first time, to win his second race today, in fact, as this one is just a trainer switch for Don Alberto stable. And my guess would be that she just wasn't quite up to the level, and she ran okay in her first 2 starts at Horseshoe Indy. She doesn't have much speed, but looking at her in here today, and of course my first time seeing her, she's acting like she should break sharper. She's been very much on her toes. She's very strong. Physically, she doesn't scream turf. She's 7-2 right now, but I thought she was a little bit intriguing as a new face, though again, she was entered to run on the grass. The number 9, Altira, she really just didn't run a step after she really hesitated badly at the start and then just never really made a run. I don't mind her switching to the main track in here today. I was actually at Gulfstream with my husband for that race, and to my eye, she's actually strengthened up a lot from her first start for Alexis Cordero Lopez. She also has been moving nicely over the track. She's a big price on the board. I'm kind of treating her as a first-time starter given that first race and how badly she broke, and we'll see if anybody can beat that heavy 3-5 favorite firster for Chad Brown, Greg.
All right, Acacia, thank you. Yeah, we'll see what Asprey can produce in this debut. Right-hand side of your screen, Aqueduct as we get set for the nightcap coming up. Going to close things out in South Ozone Park with a competitive first allowance condition 1-turn mile coming up.
I'm trying to beat the 2 horses that are going to be favored here. The 5 Patient Capital, I think the pace will be more contested. I don't think the 3 Money Supply, who figures to be the second choice and is currently wants to go the mile distance. I don't like that horse. I took a shot a little bit with 8 3 Jokers, but I think with Tasha, the 11, is the horse to beat, and Complete Agenda, a little interesting. 2, 8, 11 are mine.
Take a look at Patient Capital. Yeah, and Watasha was 7 lengths back to Watasha. Patient Capital missed against Curlin's Wisdom, who ran a huge effort.
Right, but the reason to be optimistic for Watasha is I don't think that Dylan Davis is going to ride as foolishly as he did last time, where he just made no attempt to show any speed. He is considerably faster early than Patient Capital. Yet for some reason, he just sort of put a hammerlock on the horse and made no attempt to be forward. Now, maybe the connections didn't want to be forward, but I can't imagine, given how it worked out, that they're going to use those tacks again. So I think you're going to see Watasha be much more aggressive today.
Maker Lescano, they'll team up with a 5, Patient Capital. Meanwhile, that's the 11, still on the right-hand side of your screen here at Aqueduct. This is Watasha's, so
I think
maiden win. Belmont at Aqueduct, it was at 7/8, Bill Mott runner.
Yeah, I think he's going to run a lot better. You'll see him be a lot more forward in here. But I'm interested in even a complete agenda. Obviously, it's not a great rider switch. I don't want to be too hard on the 10-pound rider, Maddie Oliver, but she's not Jose Lezcano. But this is a horse that improved for Linda Rice, and Linda Rice comes back a week after winning off the maiden race and winning off the claim, and moved the horse up. That kind of confident move for Linda is usually a good suggestion that she thinks the horse is doing very well, and he's a big price. But the horse I put on top was the number 8, 3 Jokers, who I just thought that another horse, Eric Cancel rode last time, just put the anchor down, and a horse who's not speedy, but he's not that slow.
Yeah, it could be
just
forward.
way back in there and had no chance the way the race was run. So I think with the rider switch, you'll see him be more aggressive, and there are times where this horse has clearly run well enough to win here. Now, maybe he's just not that horse anymore, but at a big price, I thought I'd use him as well, as he really was given absolutely no chance whatsoever last time.
Talking about the end, I mean, he has a couple of efforts that are...
Oh, yeah.
Make him the best of this bunch if he can repeat them.
Oh, yeah.
Not that long ago. We get back to Tampa here. Again, this was meant for the grass. Main track, and it's still 3-5 on this one right here for Chad Brown debuting.
I bet a few pennies on Humor Sense to try to wire the field. I think you're supposed to bet against the 2. It's probably a good sign that Chad Brown left the 2 in. But this horse has a total turf pedigree, and I think just to assume that she's going to outclass these on a surface that she may just hate, I think it's a mistake. We'll see. Obviously, Chad was probably encouraged, I suppose, by those workouts. Both you and Acacia referenced. But I think a horse like the 3, as bad as his PPs look, or her PPs look in this field, she makes sense, and she's supposed to be in front.
9-1. She just stepped in line.
Supposed to be in front easily here. I mean, she's a lot faster than these horses.
Roman Flame, this one is the 5, the second choice on the board off 2 starts on turf going a mile.
He's an Ironicus from an arch mare. I get Shug's leaving the 1 in because just really doesn't show that much, so you take a shot, and not impossible, but there's no indication that horse has to handle the dirt either. The finish could be 2-4, but I think you're supposed to bet against it. Made a little 310. Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was talking about the 5, Roman
I
Flame.
apologize. I didn't have the 4 scratched.
Yeah,
it wasn't
4's
scratched
out.
when I looked. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I think the 5's ridiculous, but okay.
There's the 10 stepping in, and we're set. Let's go to Jason Beam for the call. Asprey, the 2, the first timer, the heavy favorite for Chad Brown.
And the race is on. Asprey, the favorite, came away just half a step slow, was away last. Humor Sense showing good early speed. Royal Dame from the outside and Roman Flame between them. Roman Flame and Humor Sense, the 2 that are going to go on best. Asprey recovering after that slow beginning is now a joint third along with Royal Dame, who's to her outside. It's 2.5 more than back to Domo Arigato and Altira. Those 2 share the back early on as they race in 3 pairs midway on that first turn. It's Humor Sense and Roman Flame. Those are the 2 up top. Humor Sense a nostril in front now. Roman Flame up on the outside counters, and Roman Flame pokes a nose in front as they ding-dong up the back stretch. They're 3.5 ahead of Royal Dame, who falls into a good spot there. It's 4 more lengths then back to Asprey. Altira's right up alongside the favorite, who's back 5th right now, and it's about 3.5, 4 more back to Domo Arigato, who's at the back. They head down the back stretch, just over a half mile left to go in their journey. And Roman Flame and Humor Sense, these 2 been going at it for much of the journey. They're 2.5, 3 in front of Royal Dame, who gets a little closer now from 3rd. Then comes Asprey in the 4th position. Altira's right to her outside. It's 3.5, 4 more back to Domo Arigato as Roman Flame takes over the 3/8 pole, but Royal Dame looms just in behind. And here's Royal Dame with a big move up alongside of Roman Flame. They're 2.5 in front. Asprey is 3rd, being pushed along to go after the top 2. 47-3 was the time for that opening half mile. Royal Dame is the new leader. Roman Flame now ahead back in 2nd, but counters right back. Those 2 to the top of the stretch. Asprey just in behind them is 3rd, only a length and a half off the top 2 as they wheel into the lane. Royal Dame, Roman Flame, Asprey going to try to join them up on the outside. They have just over a furlong left to go. Royal Dame in between horses. Asprey on the outside now starting to get some momentum and level off just a touch. Roman Flame down toward the inside. Asprey hits the front just outside the 16th pole. Roman Flame and Royal Dame 2nd and 3rd. And Asprey going to do the job here at 4-5. Won it by 2.5 in the end. 2nd was Roman Flame. Royal Dame was 3rd. Domo Arigato finished in 4th.
Asprey, race comes off the turf. Chad Brown keeps this first timer in anyway, and she gets the win in the debut.
That she did.
Back to New York. Here comes our post parade for the nightcap here. 1-turn mile, first allowance condition coming up. And here's complete agenda, who just went by. We'll try and get a look at that 4-year-old again for Linda Rice. Money Supply, the 3, 7-2.
I really don't think Money Supply wants any part of a mile. I think he's an underlay.
Risk profile just missed for 32,000 last start. We're up to the 5, Patient Capital.
Patient Capital's obviously improved, but he got away with a very slow pace in that last time. And I think it's supposed to be a much different pace scenario today. Not that he can't win.
Royal Tryst, big number, a 5-time winner.
He actually didn't run badly 2 races back, and last time he was compromised by a total lack of pace.
Well, you made the case earlier for 3 Jokers. Does have some big races. 9 times first or second in 21 starts.
Can you believe he's 5-1 in here? Didn't you think he'd be a much bigger price than that?
12-1
a much bigger price than doubles. I'm alive to double, and he's not that. It's just too short.
Prince of Pharaohs at 7-1 with Eric Cancel.
Is he impossible? And he too could be part of the pace.
Little Demon, David Jacobson, he has a lot of these horses he's taken from Penn National here.
Right, but Penn National form rarely repeats itself in New York.
Watasha's got to try and make up 7 lengths on Patient Capital.
Yeah, I think you'll see a much different ride today. And you'll see Dylan be a lot more aggressive. And this horse that ran a big figure breaking his maiden 3 races back. And I think with a more aggressive ride, he'll run a much better race.
Back to the 2 who we missed in that post parade. So Linda Rice, second off the claim, claimed off of Todd Pletcher.
Going to need the pace to heat up, but I like the confidence of Linda Rice. When she's confident, they usually reward you.
10-pound apprentice, Maddie Over in the irons. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
Checking in with Money Supply. You know, Andy and I saw this race identically, and we even talked about Money Supply probably winning less ground. But I do want to note that they put blinkers on, just a shortcut blinker on this horse who I believe less ground's probably better for him, though we'll see how he does here at a mile yet. Again, third off the layout. 3 Jokers. I don't know what happened last time. He just broke a bit flat-footed, and Eric niggled the reins at him a bit, but he just never really got into it. And now we see Jose Gomez aboard, and he's drawn more towards the outside. And he came in the paddock. I wasn't down in the paddock last time. I was on set. And he just came in just angry, for lack of a better way to put it, like, oh, I want to get out there. And I just really feel like he is going to break better. Now, I caught up to young lady to my right, Leanna Williford, assistant to Bill Mott here, and she said that Dylan actually said to her that he felt as though he made a mistake last time, riding him passively, and that he should be more aggressive, because I loved Watasha in that spot last time, and I've been dying for him to get just a bit more ground to cover. I think he is truly this one-term mile horse, like what I saw from him in the paddock. He'll be my pick here, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. There's those prices from Tampa Bay and that first-time starter, Asprey, winning for Chad Brown on the debut.
Congratulations, you got that 360. I did not. If the rider of the 5 hadn't been so aggressive, probably would have won. Buried the 3 in there, but actually ran very well being second in the context of the race. I respect that Dylan told Leanna that he blew it last time. I do. I respect that from a rider that felt he made a mistake, and you'll see him try to correct it, and we'll see. So what will happen, he'll be more aggressive, and the pace will get super hot. It's not a fair world, is it, Greg?
He's had a lot of success of late being aggressive.
Yes, agreed with that.
Including in the Jerome on Lugan night.
Totally agree with you.
There's Matty Over, 10-pound apprentice, getting some big opportunities, including here with Linda Rice on a horse who is 9-1, coming in off a win off the claim.
Yeah, when Linda she's very good off wins, but I like when she's confident, she's good off short rest. And she's taking a real shot, because it's a much tougher spot than last time. But I'll say anything else about Complete Agenda. There's an argument that inside was a big advantage last time this horse ran, and this horse circled the field. Did not have a big ground-saving trip. This horse really was against the track at least a little bit last time, and really improved, I thought, for Linda. Back to it once this horse had some potential for Todd Pletcher.
There is Watasha last in line, the rematch with Patient Capital, the favorite. Nightcap from New York. Let's go to Chris Griffin.
And they're off. Prince of Pharaohs has early speed from in between horses. There comes Patient Capital. That's Little Demon towards the far outside there with Watasha. That's the leading 4. In behind them will be Money Supply as they get set to come out of the chute. In between horses there comes Risk Profile. Further back in the field is going to be 3 Jokers. Second to last Royal Tryst, and the trailer Complete Agenda. It's a moderate pace early. It's Little Demon. Kendrick Carmouche out in the center of the racetrack. To the inside is Patient Capital. Watasha is going to be out in the center of the racetrack, and here comes Money Supply. Money Supply is moving forward, is challenging for that 3rd position. Losing some ground after breaking on the lead is Prince of Pharaohs. To the inside of that rival comes Risk Profile towards the back end of the field. Here comes the move from down to the inside Royal Tryst, 3 Jokers, and Complete Agenda at the back end of the field. Less than a half mile to go. They went 24-1 for that opening quarter mile, 48.72 for the half mile time. Little Demon is in front. It is Little Demon who's up by a neck. To the inside there is Patient Capital. Watasha is to the outside of Money Supply, and Money Supply is progressing quickly. Little Demon has got the lead, and Money Supply is ranging up on the outside. Still down there to the inside is Patient Capital is still in it. That's the leading trio as Watasha is fully extended from fourth. From the back, Prince of Pharaohs is trying to rally on. They reach the top of the stretch. Little Demon kicks for home. It is Little Demon who's up by a length and a half. Switching to the outside is Patient Capital who's in pursuit. Got off the rail. It is coming after this leader now. It is Little Demon who's still finding up front. Patient Capital's got every chance. Approaches the 16th pole. Little Demon is almost there. Patient Capital going to try one final time. Little Demon will get the victory. Little Demon wins it. Then Patient Capital. A late run here. 3 jokers. Royal Tryst and Money Supply in 1 minute 39.45 seconds.
Well, in this race, it is a Penn National shipper that transfers that form from Pennsylvania here to New York, David Jacobson. And this is the 5th win from 22 starts for this 5-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, this is a horse that I couldn't have in a million years. Not only this horse will not look good enough on paper, but Penn National form is rarely, if ever, transferred here. Well, this horse improved on it. Now, it didn't hurt. The pace, as often seems to be the case, was extraordinarily moderate, especially for this quality of horse. And basically, the speeds ran around the track together. Actually, 3 jokers ran fairly well to be a reasonably distant third in here, trying to make up some ground. But Little Demon, don't know where that race came from, but he ran it.
Little fist pump from Kendrick Carmouche. Crossing the wire first here on a 15-1 shot. Here it comes.
We might get him to be a guest on the show next week. We'll chat with him, hoping to bring him up here for a little while next Saturday.
One with Clubhouse for Pletcher back in race 5. It'd be great if we can get him on the program. We had him on at Saratoga a couple summers
Couldn't
ago.
get rid of
He was
him.
Tremendous.
And I had him on.
We didn't want to get rid of him. 2-win day on this Saturday afternoon for Kendrick. Little Demon at 15-1. 10-5, 8-7. Got a 26-1 shot in there for the Superfecta as well. We have the late pick 4 coming up next at Oaklawn. Set the stage for that, which includes the 5th season. When we return, we have a state-bred 30 maiden claiming race to kick off the sequence coming up.
This season at Oaklawn, we've got more of everything. More of the top thoroughbreds in the world. More days of live racing. And the largest purses in our history. All at a completely reimagined Oaklawn. Come be a part of this historic season at Arkansas's only casino resort.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
Now more than ever, it's time to get with the program. When shopping for your next race prospect, consider that New York breds start with an advantage. Our New York breds run for serious green. At Saratoga Race Meet, New York bred maidens run for up to $88,000. New York bred allowance horses run for up to $100,000. And New York bred owners can collect awards of up to $20,000 per horse per race. So get back with the program. Seriously.
Back on America's Day at the Races on our FS2 coverage, regional networks out in Southern California. Program brought to you in part by Hillendale at Alapa. We're set for the late pick 4 coming up in Hot Springs, Arkansas. It is 7th at Oaklawn. Arkansas bred, state bred company, 30 maiden claiming sprint. At 6 furlongs, let's go to Paula Duca for more.
Thanks, Greg. Yeah, these Arkansas bred races are kind of tough to read. And when you get two horses in here with two elite trainers, they're the two favorites and they're first-time starters in here. You got the Brad Cox runner in here, the 7 Bradley Pink, an Arkansas bred by Double Irish. Now, we've seen a lot of these Double Irishes being very, very fast. And this filly, you know, you really can't tell in the morning. She's been working okay. I do, you know, she has back-to-back gate drills. She has like 3 or 4 gate drills on the tab. That kind of worries me a little bit, but, you know, I don't want to put too much credence into a guy like Brad Cox, who's, I mean, going to be in the Hall of Fame and is just a monster trainer. So at 7-2, I don't know if the horse is chilly or not. I do think the 12, Betty Joe, looked tremendous on the racetrack. This is a filly by Danza. It was a shame we didn't get to see Danza run after he ran so well in the Kentucky Derby. But I have a Tail of the Cat mare. Tail of the Cat was very precocious, and I think this horse has got some win early pedigree. You get Bejarano and Moquette, and I understand this horse is 5-1 in the morning line, but he's second in the Will Pays here. The horse is taking a lot of the money, is the 5 in here. Finish what you started. And I get it a little bit. This is a horse for Carterville that was in maiden special weight and took some money, got to the front end. My worry is this horse just collapsed. Now, the drop to 30, is it going to make her, you know, keep on going? I just don't know. Maybe she gets to the front end, but I would believe there's got to be somebody else in here that's going to show some speed and keep pressure on her. It's just after that Rats race, I get it. When you drop from maiden special weight all the way down to 30, you're dangerous with speed. But she only showed it for a little while, and she really backed up. And then the 9, Sassy Lass. This horse had a lot of trouble. I would treat the 9 as a first-time starter. I thought this was the other horse on the outside, kind of looking in, and is taking some action. So I was actually between the 9 and the 12 because I just don't see the money on the Brad Cox horse. I get it. This horse is, you know, the lowest payout in the pick 3s. But if this horse was loaded like most Brad Cox's horses, this horse would be 8-5 and 6-5 in this race. So I'm going to side with the 9 or the 12 in here, slightly to the 12, Betty Joe.
He's obviously right. The 7 is completely dead in the board of this condition. I really like the 9 in here. Sassy Lass. She had a monster trip last time, got badly shuffled out of the race and totally lost any chance she possibly had. Actually took a little bit of money in that race, and I just think this is a very, very interesting second-time starter, Sassy Lass.
At 4-1 right now. She did take it, considering it was a state bred maiden special, dropping down here, did take a little bit of money in that spot as well. And plenty of excuses, as you mentioned. But yeah, well, the money's starting to come in a little bit on the Brad Cox first timer, the 7, Bradley Pink.
It's what my friend Lenny would call guppy money. You know, people coming in at the end going, oh, Brad Cox, the first-time starter. Wow, 7-2. Listen, maybe the field's bad and the horse will win, but not my kind.
Should see speed and will it last longer against easier company here with a 5. Finish what you started. Second time out with Christian Torres. Start of this late pick 4 on our Saturday card from Hot Springs, Arkansas. Let's go to Vic Stauffer for the call.
Finish what you started. Bradley Pink. 2 more now, Betty Joe and Miss Pony Up. They're at the post. They're off. Sophie's Star broke well. So did Sassy Lass. Bradley Pink's in the mix. Finish what you started. Quarantined moves through at the rail. Then comes Street Painter, followed by Elmo's Secret, Miss Pony Up and Miss Arkansas, Relentless Rocket, and the trailer is Grandma Belle. It's Quarantined up the backstretch, a length in front of Street Painter, who's moved up into second. These two will match strides, a length and a half in front of Sassy Lass, and to the outside, Betty Joe. 3 back to Finish What You Started and Sophie's Star. Then comes Grandma Belle, Relentless Rocket, and Miss Arkansas. Bradley Pink is double digits from the front. Elmo's Secret just inside of her. Miss Pony Up is the trailer, and Street Painter is the leader. Street Painter and Kelsey Haar get away at the top of the stretch. Street Painter now has a 3-length lead. Sassy Lass is about to begin to run after her. Miss Quarantined is back into third, and they come to the final furlong with Street Painter the leader. Sassy Lass is trying to catch. She's got a final furlong to make up 2 lengths. Then comes Betty Joe. Street Painter still there. Sassy Lass, Betty Joe on the outside, but it's Street Painter clear to the wire. Betty Joe is closing up into second, and she's closing fast. Street Painter, Betty Joe in time! Betty Joe ran down Street Painter in the shadow of the wire. Sassy Lass was next, and Relentless Rocket.
Betty Joe, Ron Moquette, tremendous meet for him, continues, wins with a first-time starter. Rafael Bejarano really started motoring late.
This horse was in the same position as the 9 in the backstretch and appeared to have nothing. And the 9, Sassy Lass, completely went by her. Now, the horse who ran the best race was a second-place finisher, Street Painter. Well, I believe blew the break in here and had to rush up and ran extremely well. But this horse sort of got it going late. Ron Moquette doesn't win with a lot of first-time starters, but he won with one here.
12-8-9 finish. 5-1 on this first-timer for Moquette. Took a while to get in gear, but once she found her stride, she seals the deal here. Yeah. Tough beat for Street Painter and pretty good first time out.
That was a tough beat for her. She was best.
Back at Tampa Bay, stakes action continues on this Saturday card with the Gasparilla. 7/8 of a mile for 3-year-old fillies. Even money. Darth Vader, the 4, is trying to win 3 consecutive starts for Michael Yates.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to get together with what I'm looking at now. Well, she did improve quite a bit last time out. Darth Vader. That was a big fig, a big jump up. The question is, can she continue to improve? Because that was a big number. When's that race? She's probably going to win, right?
85 buyer for this win. Easily.
The concern for me
handling Awesome Pick, by the way, is going to be a rematch there with that one on the outside.
The concern for me is that Awesome Pick also improved a lot. Now, Awesome Pick had run a reasonably good number, but I do wonder if that's a number that you really want to use to be predictive. But even if they take a step back, who's supposed to beat them in here? I mean, I thought Personal Pursuit was a little bit interesting getting back to the dirt. That wasn't a bad maiden race, even though it was an off-the-turf race back at Aqueduct here. Thought that horse wasn't impossible. Darth Vader's the one to beat, though.
Yeah, Personal Pursuit, the 2. Mark Cassie's going to make a lot of changes. Blinkers on, getting Lasix, surface switch as well. We're going to show you Dreaming of Snow, though, coming off an impressive second win of her career when she beat Yes Day, who's going to be a long shot in the race from the rail today.
Yeah, listen, she improved a little bit off her prior race, but she was also very, very easily beaten by Darth Vader, and I don't think she's supposed to. Isn't she supposed to get some pressure in here from the 6, Tell Me When, early? So I don't know that she'll be able to control up front, and she's got to get the 7 furlongs. The margin of victory was really about who was behind her, not necessarily how well she ran. She ran okay, and she's not impossible in here, but I think she's going to have to take another step forward in all likelihood to win this race.
Yeah. Do like the fact, though, at least all 3 of her starts, she's moved forward each time out for Gerald Bennett. But even money now on Darth Vader, who, that last start just makes her really imposing. And the start before that, even though it wasn't big a figure, it was at 7/8 of a mile, so she's done it before.
And you have to like that she's improved 2 straight times. Even if she takes a little step back from the speed figure standpoint, she's just the one to beat. There's no denying it. You can deny it, but I don't think you can.
She is a short number in here. Trying to make it 3 consecutive victories in the last 2. Stakes wins. 1 against Florida Breds. The last, that Sandpiper, that was against Open Company. Here comes our post parade. So Yes Day trying to turn the tables, among others, on Dreaming of Snow.
She would have to take an enormous step forward. She does get Lasix for the first time, and she's a huge price if you like her.
Mark Cassie sends out Personal Pursuit, moving surfaces.
Yeah, I think this is the most interesting alternative, a new face to these. If you're trying to beat them, I would use a new face. She's, to me, the second likeliest winner behind the 4.
Dreaming of Snow, the 3 we talked about. She's moved forward each of her 3 starts, and she's coming off a dominating win over Yes Day.
Yeah, she's going to have to still run faster. But listen, she's a young Huntley racehorse. She has a right to.
Darth Vader trying to make it 3 straight, and it would all be stakes races for her.
Yeah, I mean, she's in terrific form, and she's the obvious favorite, and maybe she just keeps improving with each start. So, these Gervin's amazing. What a gear he's had, huh?
Charlie's Wish, distant second to Darth Vader, 2 back.
Yeah, going to have to improve. Does get Lasix for the first time.
Big price, any case for Tell Me When?
Well, the case, he could get in the way. He could hurt the 3 because he could be forwardly placed. He's got speed. I don't think he's good enough.
Opus 42, at least undefeated on dirt.
1 for 1, exactly, but we'll have to get faster.
And then Awesome Pick on the outside at 5-1, Sam Camacho Jr.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he can be stalky. She draws well on the outside to get a good trip in here, but she got easily beaten by Darth Vader. I'm not sure why to think that she should turn the tables today, but we'll see.
3 minutes to post. Gasparilla, let's go to Acacia, is the force with Darth Vader. Acacia.
The force could very well be with her today, and it has been lately, and trainer Mike Gates has done a terrific job with her. Now, one thing that is going to be interesting in here as she tries to keep the momentum going is seeing if she can keep a straight course, because last time out she was kind of lugging in and out late, and you could see as she was hanging on her left lead late, still very green. She kind of blew the turn a little bit and then kind of came back. She bested the rest, but she was a little bit all over the place, and she's sharp on track once again today. Marcos Meneses so far looks like he's opting to keep her with the pony, and the positive is that he's ridden her in her last 4 starts, so he's gotten a chance to really get acclimated to her. She looks terrific physically. Great coat, great flesh on her today. I'm just hoping that she can be a little bit more professional throughout the running of the race, particularly in the latter stages, a little bit cleaner, switching those leads and keeping a straight course as she tries to make it 3 stakes wins in a row. The number 2, Personal Pursuit, getting a lot of changes today, and she's another one that's been a little bit hard to handle, even when she broke her maiden, and she was entered in the body of the race that day. She wasn't an MTO when she broke her maiden back in September. She was getting out in the stretch. She was really tough to handle that day. In her last 2 races, both on the turf, she's been pretty headstrong early on. She adds the blinkers today, and she does get Lasix for the first time. We'll see if those blinkers can help her to keep a little bit settled too. Sometimes those fillies that are very, very fresh and maybe a little bit tough to handle, it can almost make them too sharp, the blinkers. So I'm curious to see if that'll help to channel her energy. She had a lovely warm-up out on track. She's incredibly fit in here today, and her pedigree does go either way. Obviously, she's run okay on the dirt before, so we'll see if the equipment changes today can help her to improve throughout the early running of the race in particular. The number 7, Opus 42, she did break her maiden on the dirt last time, albeit in a slow race. And I spoke to Arnaud Delacour this morning on the backside here at Tampa, and he had said that despite the fact that being by Mendelssohn and the Dam's 2 wins were on the grass, she'd always trained well in the dirt. And while they'd been pleased with her on the turf, they felt like they weren't exactly getting all of it out of her. So trying the dirt last time, she ran well, but he thought that she was still a little bit green when she hit the lead by herself. So a filly that's still improving. I will say, when I watched them all walk into the paddock, she was the one that caught my eye immediately. A big, good-looking filly by Mendelssohn. She's handled herself so professionally. She does need to improve, but we'll see if she can step forward off of that maiden race. Greg?
Acacia, thank you. So Opus 42, 10-1, catching the eye of Acacia. And we mentioned the dirt debut was an impressive maiden win, but would need to take a step forward here. Certainly can do that. Let's go to Jonathan for more.
Yeah, look, I'd love to tell you something creative here, but I just couldn't really come up with anything. I mean, the 4, Darth Vader, feels like the likely winner, and not just because that horse ran the best speed figure last time out, but if you look at who else is being bet in this race, you look at the 8, Awesome Pick. Darth Vader beat Awesome Pick last time. And you look at the race, Awesome Pick didn't necessarily have an excuse. So what's the difference now? So that was hard for me to come up with. And also the 2, Personal Pursuit. Yes, I understand that horse does have an okay dirt number, 3 back, but that was earned in an off-the-turf race where the horse got loose on the front end in a very comfortable fashion. When horses are comfortable, they run fast final times. Personal Pursuit, to me, just feels a little dressed up off of that race. As soon as that race was over, they got right back to the turf. It makes me think connections feel like turf is probably better for Personal Pursuit. Look, if Darth Vader doesn't win, I don't know who is. I'm not telling you got to bet this horse to win, but I can't tell you who to win if it's not this one.
Well, we will find out. Even money on the filly trying to make it 3 straight. She's been impressive. Her last, obviously, that one that really catches the eye with that big figure. Maybe it's Opus 42, the 7, who steps forward.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against the 4 here. I think she is the right price at even money, the 1 to beat. I disagree with Jonathan. I think the 2 is a dangerous rival here. I think they were wrong to go back to the turf with this horse. I do think actually that race was okay first on the turf and beat a horse that's okay, Quarrel, even though Quarrel won on the turf eventually. Quarrel has dirt pedigree and actually ran okay in there, so I'm not sure of that, but I'm not strongly against the 4. I think 6 to 5 even money is probably the right price on her. I really couldn't make a case for anybody else. I'm just not sure the 4's fig might be a little bit high, and I want to see Personal Pursuit get another chance on the dirt, because I'm not sure dirt won't be the right surface.
The only 2 losses of Darth Vader, the big favorites resume here, had excuses in both.
Well, one of them, of course, was 38 to 1 also, so obviously she had a bit of, she was overmatched in that race. The other one was her debut. So, no, I mean, listen, there's no real knock on Darth Vader. The case you make is you say, well, maybe that 85 isn't that predictive going forward. Maybe it's supposed to be a 79. But even if it's a 79, it's still probably going to be good enough to win this race. So I'm not making a strong case against Darth Vader. I just agree with the public. The second likeliest winner is the 2.
She's tactical, the favorite as well.
Yeah.
And going to be not too far off the pace.
It's the funny thing is, according to the pace projector at time form, she is. I don't get it. Pace projector at time form has her last. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. I agree with you. One of the reasons I look at it, I'm not sure how it has her last, but the pace projector at time form has a fast pace with the 3 and 6 forward and the 4 back to last.
She was not far off a 22 and 44 and 4 half last start.
I'm mystified as well. So, but I'm just don't shoot the messenger. I agree. That's why I brought it up. I actually have it written down with a question mark. What? Really? They're going to be going that fast that she'll be last? And I feel like if she's last, assuming she doesn't have a bad break, they're probably going so fast she probably wants to be last. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see.
Gasparilla, we'll see if Darth Vader the 4 can make it 3 consecutive stakes wins here in this Gasparilla. 7/8 of a mile. Let's go upstairs. Jason Beam, the call.
Waiting on Darth Vader. An awesome pick will be all set to kick off the Gasparilla in our late daily double. Darth Vader's got in. Awesome pick to the outside. Samuel Camacho Jr. We're just about set to roll. Awesome pick coming up. Indian. They're in the gate. And the race is on in the Gasparilla Stakes. Darth Vader, the favorite, got away in good order. Awesome pick from the outside is Quick, Dreaming of Snow. Driving through down toward the inside. Opus 42 is right there. Tell Me When, 5 of them vying for the early advantage. It's Awesome pickup from the outside. Tell Me When. These are the 2 that emerge 1-2. Darth Vader just to their inside. Also up there in that early pack is Opus 42, is 4 of them right across the track. 2.5 more back to Dreaming of Snow, settles 5th. Another length and a half after that to Charlie's Wish in 6th. Personal Pursuit is back 7th, and it's 2.5 more to Yes Day, who's at the back of affairs early on. They have just over a half mile left to go. 22-2 for that opening quarter mile, and a 3-prong battle up front. Darth Vader, Tell Me When, Awesome pick to the outside. They're 2 lengths ahead. Personal Pursuit's made up a little bit of ground, trying to move up inside of Opus 42. Dreaming of Snow as Tell Me When had to tap on the brakes there momentarily. Around that far turn they go. Awesome pick. Darth Vader, 3 deep here for Opus 42. Dreaming of Snow coming up to join the party out 4 wide. Those 4 a length and a half in front of Personal Pursuit, who's 5th, as Darth Vader starts to drop back now as they wind around to the quarter pole. Opus 42 between horses and arrow lead. Dreaming of Snow on the outside. Down to the rail, Awesome Pick. Personal Pursuit. Charlie's Wish also starting to stoke the fires. Trying to get back into it is Dorth Vader, who's back 6th right now. A final furlong left to go. Opus 42 and Daniel Centeno just in front. Down the outside, Charlie's Wish. Dreaming of Snow. Personal Pursuit is in between runners. A 16th to go. It's Opus 42. Charlie's Wish trying to get this one right over the top. Here's Charlie's Wish on the outside of Opus 42. They drive to the wire. Here it is. Photo finish. It's very, very close here. It's either Opus 42 or Charlie's Wish. Personal Pursuit was 3rd.
Photo finish of the Gasparilla. It's the 5, Charlie's Wish, or the 7, Opus 42. Very tight. Let's take another look.
Well, this is close. Not telling that one. Number 4 was too close early, but backed out badly in their favor.
Right now, it's still the inside.
Yep. Now we're in a Bob situation. Very hard to tell.
That is difficult to make a determination. One more look if we slow it down.
Well, that's not at all. Why wouldn't they slow it down?
And this was one Acacia had talked about. Opus 42, the 7, really caught her eye. Mendelssohn filly, whose dirt debut was a maiden score.
Wow. Well, with the 4 not showing up at all, it certainly changed things quite a bit. But don't know. They posted the 7?
We, I believe, are still waiting. I don't think it's been posted yet.
I think we're making a massive mistake to suggest. Okay.
All right, so it is 7-5. Opus 42, we're being told, has been posted as your unofficial winner. Back-to-back wins now on dirt, undefeated on the dirt. On the stretch out to 7/8 of a mile. In a thriller down the stretch here in the Gasparilla. We'll have the prices for you when we come back. You're watching America's Day at the Races on FS2. Stay with us. We'll be back right after this.
Whatever you use to predict future stallion success, breathe slowly and gaze at the desert's first great championship race. Curlin won it. So did Street Cry, Arrogate, and now, in a time even faster than Arrogate's, Mystic Guide. The cold hard fact is, after this, he was rated the best horse in the world. Mystic Guide. New to Darley.
We're back on America's Day at the Races, our program brought to you in part by Naira Bets, where you can play all the races we bring you on the program and many more. Go to nairabets.com, bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Upset in the Gasparilla at Tampa Bay Downs, Opus 42. Making a big move forward off a dirt debut maiden special weight win.
Yeah, big upset in here with 8-1 over 12-1, with the favorite not running a step in here, maybe a little too close to the pace, but that horse went out the back door. Opus 42. It's quite a photo.
Photo finish between these two, dead tight, but it goes to the daughter of Mendelssohn. Daniel Centeno for Arnaud Delacour. 7.52, and early on, Dorth Vader was part of that early pace. At one point, took the lead, but then you saw fairly early on in this race it was not going to be her day.
He was out the door by the 5/16 pole, if not before that. Just really didn't run. I mean, you want to say, okay, maybe a little too close to the pace, but you can't drop out that early. Maybe something went wrong in there, but that horse just did not run at all today.
Meanwhile, Opus 42 taking a big step forward in here, and Arnaud Delacour looks like might have a nice filly on his hands with that performance.
We'll see.
Started her out on the grass, first couple of starts, and obviously dirt has been the right move here with a maiden special weight win and now a stakes victory. As you see the hardware being presented to Daniel Centeno. And your winning connections. Let's go to Acacia for more.
Very pleased to be joined by winning trainer Arnaud Delacour as Opus 42, now undefeated on the dirt. And Arnaud, you had told me this morning that she'd always trained well on the main track, despite that pedigree. And turns out she really likes it.
Yeah, it looks like it. Since she came to Tampa, she's been bruising light out on that dirt. So I don't know if it's only here, but she's done terrific and bruising very well, showing a lot of speed, tactical speed, which you kind of need to, win a race like that.
And you had mentioned she was perhaps a little bit green when she hit the front by herself last time. She was so game and professional today.
Yes, it worked out. It looks like she's learning. She hasn't run much, obviously the second time on dirt, so I'm delighted with that. And it helps that obviously Centeno knows her and knew what to expect.
It seems like she's handled everything that's been thrown at her so far. Do you think that she'll improve perhaps a little bit more distance as well?
Sure, I hope we can keep going. She'll tell us.
Well, we look forward to it. Big congratulations today.
Thank you.
Arnaud Delacour with Opus 42, now 2 for 2 on the main track, Greg.
Yeah, 2 for 2 on dirt. Stakes win on the resume as well. And whole rest of the year to look for spots going forward.
I'll wait for the figs.
We'll see if, maybe she can continue to keep moving forward. Still beats, Dorth Vader didn't run a race. Still beat a horse who had a nice resume coming in. Still to come, 5th season feature from Oaklawn. Former runner-up of the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, Ginobili is going to be the one to beat, but he's got to deal with a 10-year-old who won this race last year. Rated R superstar, ready to do battle again at Oaklawn.
The sun shines bright on Caraconte. His first crops of racing age are showing brilliance on the racetrack with a high percentage of stakes winners. His versatility is evidenced by winners on all surfaces across the globe. And his offspring are lighting up the sales ring. With his biggest and best quality of books in the pipeline, the sun shines bright on this value sire. Caraconte, standing at Gainesway.
At the rail, 'tis plenty.
Good call, Paul LaDuca. He liked this filly for Tom Amoss. Hazy Command didn't get out good last time out. Did take advantage of that hot pace in front of her. Comes from off the pace again today.
She got a contested pace again, but I think she ran a better race. She beat me. I bet the 6, or at least I noticed that Dealing Justice was in the race. Dealing Justice ran okay to be second here, but she was no match for Hazy Command, and I was just too stubborn to have any exacta money. So, Tom Amoss, congrats. You beat me, buddy.
Back-to-back wins for this 4-year-old filly. She's actually won 3 of her last 5 starts on a roll right now. And doing it from well off the pace. And this is a filly that, I'm going to say she used to be close to the pace, but she was somewhat of a mid-pack runner. Looks like maybe getting out of the gate last time out slow. She's found a new running style.
Yeah, she's not that slow. I just think it was paces. Now, this pace wasn't particularly quick. This was a much better effort than her win last time. Much, much better, I thought.
Rafael Bejarano on board for Tom Amoss Late Night Stables. We'll have the finale coming up from Tampa Bay Downs. When we return, features still to come from Oaklawn as well. Nightcap at Tampa, taking off the turf. Main track now at 1 mile and 40 yards. Maiden special weight ahead.
Grade 1 winner and track record setter Lee. Like their sire, his runners have excelled on both dirt and turf, including these standout performers.
Poppy Flower is kicking in. Poppy Flower with the momentum. Nagarok, they come on for the finish, and it is going to be Nagarok.
Out of a Galileo mare, this dual surface star has sired juvenile stakes winners on both dirt and turf. Lee, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races.
He's moving
Not
closer
great
and
gate
closer to.
speed.
He's moving closer to Acacia, though. He's not. It's going to take a while. I think she can outrun him, but he seems to be making a move towards her.
I have a sneaky suspicion he can pick up that speed. Our program brought to you by
I'd
Naira
rather
Bets.
not know.
Where you can play all the action. Go to NairaBets.com. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Nightcap from Tampa's coming up. Was meant for the grass, so main track now. They're off the turf today. Mile and 40 yards on the dirt for this maiden special weight. And a look at the odds. And it's Modern Love, the 4. Favored, guess who? Chad Brown.
Took no money, did no running first time out in the dirt, and Chad entered on the turf. And the horse has a pedigree to move forward on turf after 3 turf winners, or 2 or 3, I think. Does get Lasix, but is the obvious choice off that race. But there's an interesting horse in here, and it's the number 3, Sea Witch. Now, I really want to bet this horse on turf because there's turf pedigree, but this horse got bet off the board for these for these connections that don't take a lot of money and has more of a turf pedigree and got bet off the board. Now, did not run a step here at Aqueduct, but I like they left this horse in here. I like the 3, Sea Witch.
I had to deal with a rail that day for the debut. A lot of times you can just toss out that first start. It's a learning experience. So 5-1 here for start number 2 coming up. Inside, it's Lady B, the 2 who inherits the rail for Bill Mott, taking money as well at 5-2. More on this race coming up in a moment. Hazy Command, Tom Amos, Late Night Stables, Rafael Bejarano, Picture Time, and a filly that's really on a roll right now.
Yeah, no, she is. I mean, she ran a lot better in victory today. Not only were they better horses, but she got a very quick pace to close into last time. Whereas this race, they weren't moving that fast up front. It's not like this race fell apart. She was the best horse in here, and I regret it because I like the second horse. I bet Dealing Justice to win, and I'm not smart enough to have the exacta. I didn't like the winner. I was wrong.
4-6-2 finish as we get set for their feature, the 5th season coming up next. But it's back to Tampa right now. So there is the interesting one you were just talking about, Philly by Honor Code for Tom Albertrani. 9-2 now for start number 2.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this was the most interesting race they were running at Tampa today if they had stayed in the turf. Unfortunately, it rained yesterday, and so they're off the turf, unfortunately. There was a ton of pedigree, including the 7, who I imagine Acacia was excited to go there for her father-in-law, Christophe Clement. A full to Plum Ali, horse she'll be looking for down the road. I wouldn't be optimistic about the 2 in English Channel on the dirt here. I think it's either the 3 or 4, and I prefer the 3, especially at a better price.
Now here's the 2 to kick off the post parade. So Belmont, English Channel filly staying in despite moving to dirt.
Dam was a turf horse. It's all turf in the pedigree. I think Todd Pletcher trained. The second dam was Pico Tenerife, who was a Danzig, a little before your time, but a very, very good horse for Todd Pletcher on the turf.
Again, Sea Witch for Albert Tronic gets Lasik, start number 2.
Even though this is really more of a turf pedigree, this horse was bet in his debut, like supposed to be able to run.
Overbet, 7-5, just the Chad.
Probably, but on the other hand, it's Chad Brown, and the horse did run against better horses first time out. It's probably the likeliest winner. I'm not going to fault it. I understand why they're betting.
Little Miss Moonlight up to the 8 with the scratches. We'll see next a first-time starter by City of Light.
Horse with no pedigree, enter for the dirt first time.
Get to that one eventually. Still 3-2 on this favorite. Here's the 8.
Slow in the post parade. Yeah, I mean the first time starter for the dirt, not turf, not my kind, but okay.
And Witching Hour outside rounds out the field. Start number 2 for Kelsey Danner, the trainer.
They entered synthetic. The horse ran lousy. They entered the turf. The dam has produced 2 turf winners, 3 that didn't run at all. One of them ran the 70s, not that good. And now they're on the surface they least want to be on. And the horse is the 3rd choice. I don't get it at all.
This one favored throughout. Often when in doubt, where do you go? And Chad Brown's in the race. Public's going to wind up there. Let's go to Acacia for more.
And we'll start there with your current favorite, Greg, with Modern Love. I was in the paddock in New York for her first race, and my notes that day said, would love to see her go longer and try turf. And I thought I was going to get my wish today. As Andy mentioned, she is the sister competition of Ideas Grade 1 winner on grass. And there were actually 2 other siblings that both won on turf as well. The dam herself was on the dirt, and she was a multiple graded stakes winner. So I can certainly understand from Chad's perspective wanting to see, can she run on the dirt? Is there going to be some opportunity, some future there? She didn't take much money, and she didn't do too much running either. She stays in on the main track in here today, giving her another chance, and I do think, if anything, she will love getting to go some more distance today, because she's a big, long, stretchy type of frame, and especially off of that pedigree, you would assume with the curl in that she'll appreciate some more distance. So I'm fine with her. I still would like to see her try the grass, but I do think that she'll appreciate some more ground. The number 2, Lady B, I know that Bill Mott does think highly of this filly, but she also has a big pedigree for the turf by English Channel. The dam was 1 for 5. Her only win was on the turf. The second dam, a multiple graded stakes winner, Pico Tenerife for Todd Pletcher. But she did actually win first time out sprinting on the dirt, though she was run her best races on the turf. So I'm curious to see what this one will do. She's incredibly fit, but as we've seen with these English channels, they get better going longer and as they continue to mature. I do think that she's ready for her first race, and we'll see how she handles it. But again, I'd like to see her try the turf down the line. The 3 Sea Witch, I'm very intrigued by her also getting some more distance. She is a big, robust filly with a good German pedigree on the bottom side. That would certainly suggest that she'll want to go longer. And I do think that she really benefited from having a start from a fitness standpoint, which you come to expect from the barn as well. One thing I didn't love is that she looked a little bit agitated in the post parade and going off in the warm-up. She was kind of swishing her tail around. And I was glad to see that Jose Bautista took her away from the pony to kind of get her settled. She's just been teetering on the edge of doing just a little bit too much and getting distracted, but hopefully after that warm-up she's been able to settle down. I think that she looks like she will appreciate the conditions and getting to add a little bit more distance and having some experience under her belt. But Jonathan, it's 3-2 right now on what I think is a pretty wide open race.
Yeah, look, Acacia, I mean, when it comes to Chad Brown, whether it's at Tampa Bay, at Gulfstream, or at Saratoga, we know he's going to take money. And to be fair, I have no problem taking a Chad Brown horse at 3-2. But I need them to be 3-2 types. Modern Love doesn't feel like that for me. I thought this was a spread race. If you could try to catch a price, I used the all button when I was playing my pick 5 singling past the Champagne, who was beat a nasty nose earlier in the card. Look, I think the interesting one that I want to point out is the 8 Little Miss Moonlight, whose trainer is 12% with first-time starters. With outside of Chad Brown, that's the best percentage with first-time starters. Chad can win this race, but I'm going to try to beat him. I'll take the 8 Little Miss Moonlight.
6-1, Jonathan on Little Miss Moonlight. Thanks, JK. Tim Ham trains. Angel Arroyo rides. And, Chad Brown won a race earlier at Tampa that was meant for the turf taken off. Asprey, first time out winning. He won the Busanda with a colt. Not a colt, a colt.
You got to stop. You're killing me with that. The thing I'm most sad about that is the colt thing. It took me a day and a half to figure out when people kept saying a colt is a filly race. And, Busanda, as a friend of mine was texting me earlier, she was the dam of the great Buck Passer. And Buck Passer, of course, who had was just an amazing racehorse who ran at the same time as Damascus and Dr. Fager. And he was involved in that great race when the three of them met in the Woodward here at Aqueduct. So very long time ago, 68. But Buck Passer is a legitimate all-time great, a horse owned by the Phippses, and one of the truly great horses of racing in history.
And who knows what's going to happen with the Oaks this year. Totally wide open at this point. Wonder Wheel, of course, won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, but I don't think she's scaring anybody away at this point.
No, I think what you have to like about Wonder Wheel is that she showed a new dimension, closing the way she did in the Breeders' Cup. So I completely agree with you. She's absolutely, she's not, they're just not running that fast. And maybe Julia Shining is a different horse. Maybe she didn't love it wet, etc. But she certainly can't be flattered by her race, by the performances in that race, in today's race. And believe me, I'm not condemning Julia Shining. You do want to see her on a dry track, and it's Todd Fletcher, and she can improve. But I agree, there's a lot of room at the top, potentially, for the two-year-old dirt horses. Who knows? I mean, I don't think either of us are anointing a colt who had a very soft trip today and won the way she was supposed to win the race. But you want to see the figs, and I mean...
We say that, of course, we may be completely wrong because Tom Amos feels he might have the filly who's going to wrap everything up in the division with Hoosier Filly. He's talked about her so highly.
His
Goldenrod winner.
His incredible disloyalty to Serengeti Empress it's crushing my heart.
He has already said this 2-year-old, when she was a 2-year-old filly, best he has ever had. And, that includes Kentucky Oaks winner, Serengeti Empress.
And I believe she's running 5 weeks. He told me, when we were texting the other night, during the night, that my Nets beat his Pelicans. But to be fair, his Pelicans had an awful lot of injuries. They're a good team. And he said that February 18th, I believe. And I believe he's taking the Fairgrounds route with her. Okay. So, looking forward to that. And I kid Tom, but I think, like every single person involved with the show, we would love to see Tom have a really top
exciting to see her come back and make her 3-year-old debut coming up. Here, it's 8-5 favoritism. Modern Love, Chad Brown. J.K. said at the time was 3-2, not a 3-2 type. Didn't show a lot in that debut, and that was on dirt. And didn't take a lot of money in that race.
I like the 3 Sea Witch in this race and bet on her, but I don't have any illusions. Modern Love is the horse she has to beat here. I'll be surprised if one of those two doesn't win this race.
One left to load to the outside as the 8 backs away from the gate. Little Miss Moonlight waiting on Witching Hour the 9, but it's Modern Love the 4. Second time out for Chad Brown, the heavy favorite. Let's go to Jason Beam.
Gasparilla Stakes and an upset win on Opus 42. He will saddle Witching Hour here. Or Pilot, rather. Witching Hour goes in. They're in the gate. Witching Hour fractious, but settles down. And the race is on. Caught him in a beautiful line. Lady B sent for speed toward the inside. Sea Witch is close up. Witching Hour coming up to join them on the far outside as they run toward that first turn. It is going to be Lady B and Sea Witch, the 2 inside runners, and up from the outside, Witching Hour, now 3 of them in a line across the course. Just in behind them comes Little Miss Moonlight, who was out in 4th. It's 3.5 or 4 lengths more than back to Modern Love, who's being pushed along and not keeping up right now. Modern Love already about 9 off the leader up front, who is Witching Hour. Witching Hour takes over onto the back stretch. Witching Hour length and a half to Sea Witch in second. On the outside, Little Miss Moonlight is up a spot. Now takes over third after that 24-2 opening quarter mile. Just on the inside of them, it comes Lady B, who's 4th right now, and it's about 8 or 9 now back to Modern Love, who's being pushed along early on here and just not keeping pace as they run past the 4.5 furlong marker. Witching Hour continues to lead it. Sea Witch between horses. Little Miss Moonlight up from the outside. Lady B stays down toward the inside. 49-3 the time for that opening half mile. It's now 6 lengths back to Modern Love, who is getting a touch closer, but still about 8 or 9 lengths to raise as they wind around that far turn. Sea Witch alongside of Witching Hour. Little Miss Moonlight. Modern Love is now starting to get in gear from the back. Is drawn to within 5.5 as they wind around that far turn. Sea Witch is the leader. Little Miss Moonlight. Angel Arroyo just took a look back. He knows Modern Love is coming, and here she comes on the outside. They wind around to the top of the stretch. Modern Love's been under a drive for a while, but is now starting to catapult past rivals, and here's Modern Love up on the outside to assume command. Little Miss Moonlight back to second. Then comes Sea Witch. It's 3 more lengths. Then back to Lady B. A final furlong to go. Modern Love. Little Miss Moonlight not going out down without a fight toward the inside. It's Modern Love. Little Miss Moonlight tries to battle back toward the inside. Modern Love just in front. Little Miss Moonlight. Modern Love wins it by a measured neck. Second, Little Miss Moonlight. Long way back to Lady B, Sea Witch, and Witching Hour.
Far back, early, wide around that turn. Modern Love, it does not matter. She wins second time out for Chad Brown.
Not always how good you are. It's how good you are relative to the horses you raced against. And she managed to get the job done with a big move. And it's actually embarrassing that Sea Witch took the kind of money that she did in her debut to be 3-1 and have run as horrendously as she did today. I bet Sea Witch, I thought she could not lose this race around the turn. She was 4th. She couldn't even hold 3rd. Wow.
Favorite closes out this card at Tampa Bay. As we head back to Oaklawn and their big one coming up, 5th season, purse of $150,000 here, 2-turn mile. And there is the old man, Rated R Superstar, won this race last year at almost 26-1. And at 10 years old, he's coming off a performance, figures-wise, one of the very best of his career.
I'm shocked that he's 6-1 in here. He's, unlike New York, when there's speed in races at Oaklawn, guys actually usually go. So I find it very unlikely that there's not going to be a quick pace, especially since Ginobili has an outside post, so he's got to be hustled to be forward a mile hitting that turn fast. And I think Rated R Superstar's a major player in this race. He's run so well at Oaklawn at times. You gotta love him anyway. It's a tougher field he beat last time, no doubt about it, but race is supposed to set up well for him. It's a tougher field, but I don't think there are any killers in here.
No, and he did it, I mean, with a pretty wide trip, though, too. And he got a big figure as a result. Obviously the favorite, Ginobili. Runner-up of the Breeders' Cup Turd Mile to Life is good.
Yeah, I don't think he lost a lot of ground in the race, but he did make a big wide run the stretch. But I think he had a good trip last time, but I just think he fits in this race. He's supposed to get another one. And Ginobili, the 2 worst races he ever ran in his entire life were here at Oaklawn Park. And I think you can't just completely dismiss that. I mean, one of them he was 4-5, right? He was brutal in the races he ran here.
And those, I believe, are his only 2 races outside of California.
Well, no, the one race at Aqueduct, where he didn't run particularly well in the Cigar Mile last year either. Well, but he didn't run that well there either.
Yeah, struggled there.
Yeah, so maybe he's not a horse that chips that well. I mean, I think it has to be considered a possibility, right? Especially at 2-1.
Graded stakes winner. He's obviously run big, not just that Breeders' Cup Turd Mile. He's run other big races at a mile as well. But we're going to kick off the post parade with Soy Tapatio. This horse coming in with big numbers, but at lesser circuit racetracks.
Right. Now,
is he a player?
I agree with you, but to be fair, when Doug O'Neill had him in California, he kept some pretty good company and ran fairly well. But he has improved for Tino, and those races were out of town. I'm a little dubious, but he can win.
Running Ray for Joe Sharp.
It's a very game horse, but he's run better in his races out of town. And with other speed in here, I just kind of wonder if he's the right horse today.
Heart Rhythm, he's a 6-time winner. He's 13-1.
Tough race to be stretching out to try to win because he's got to stretch out, improve against a lot of other speed. Not a good setup.
Some horses middle of this field that would be huge surprises. Here's another one, Hello Hot Rod, who does have speed, though.
Yeah, he does have speed, but he could be forward, but I don't think he can beat these horses. I stay away from the Remington shippers for the most part.
Dreamer's Disease, he's won 2 in a row. Another one who likes to be up front.
This horse has extreme speed. Someone remember how well he ran in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile against Jackie's Warrior and the like a few years ago. But I just think, once again, they're going to be moving up front.
Rated R Superstar. Here is the 10-year-old. Again, won this race last year at a huge price.
I mean, you just got to sit back and hope they move and make his run. And when they move, he usually makes the run.
4-year-old for Dwayne Lucas took a big move forward last start.
He's hard to like, but he is the wild card in here with only 4 career starts. And to be fair, he did improve significantly last time.
Ginobili, the one to beat, former Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile runner-up.
And the horse that beat him last time out narrowly missed in the Cigar Mile just a couple weeks after that. But I worry about this guy shipping. I know he's the most talented in his best race, but I don't trust him.
That was off an 11-month layoff as well, and he ran 100 buyer in the comeback. King Fury, interesting 5-year-old for Kenny McPeak.
Yeah, he's another that will benefit from some pace in here. I did not like his race. He was awful last time out, but maybe this race will suit him better with more pace.
And another elder statesman, former Kentucky Jockey Club and Southwest winner at Oaklawn back in 2020, Silver Prospector.
And I like him a little less, the mile distance, but it's a tough post for him to get a good trip. I just worry about him working out the right kind of trip because he's a bit of a tweener, He's not that slow. So, a horse like the 6, a horse like the 9, they can drop back. He doesn't have that kind of running style. He wants to be engaged enough, and from that post, it's tough to work out a trip.
So 9-5 favorite, not a big surprise. We all expected Ginobili to be the big favorite in this spot, and that's where the public is going. Take a look at him in action. 6-year-old now. This was back on November 20th, his return off 11 months off, and he just misses, as you said, against the horse who ran very good in the Cigar Mile.
Well, not just that. I want to say the third-place finisher, Forbidden Kingdom, a very good horse who finished second in his subsequent start in the Malibu behind Taba. So this was a terrific field. He ran very well in here. I have no argument with understanding why he's the favorite. But there's other speed to be dealt with. He's got an outside post, so he's got to work to get the lead if he can. And I worry about the fact that he's never run well at Oaklawn Park.
You think he has to have the lead to win?
Do I think he has to have the lead to win?
He's shown some ability to stalk, no?
It's a good question. I'm wondering, well, he did sit behind a fast pace for at least a quarter mile. No, but I think he needs to engage, and I'm afraid it's going to be too fast for him.
So there he is, 9-5. He will be the favorite in this one. We talked about Soy Tapatio, another horse formerly from the West Coast with those origins on the other side of the country, and $260,000 in earnings for him. Last 2 starts, he has earned huge figures at racetracks most people that don't follow this sport a lot are not familiar with.
Well, we have somebody who works with us here, Robert Clennon, who actually was worked at both Century Mile and Assiniboia Downs. So we've got one person here familiar. Maybe we should have brought him as an expert. Big win at Zia. I don't like the fact the horse he beat last time at Zia, that horse is a turf horse, came to Oaklawn Park and ran 17 buyer points worse in the subsequent start. That bothers me. Now, maybe that horse ran a lot better at Zia because it's not like Soy Tapatio. Tapatio doesn't have backup races. I just don't particularly like this horse here.
7-2. Let's go to Paula Duca for more.
Yeah, I can understand. When you look at Soy Tapatio, you go to yourself and you go, okay, this horse ran at Century Mile, Assiniboia Downs, and then went to Zia Park. Now, Zia Park, the horse got the W. You can go to the altitude angle up at Zia Park. It's a little bit higher than it is here in Arkansas. And Robertia Diodoro is hot as a pistol. And the thing about it is Soy Tapatio is the lowest in the will pays when it comes to pick threes and doubles. I was actually a little bit surprised that he was actually in front of Ginobili. Now, Ginobili, Peter Miller had another horse that said 2 horses entered in today. He said 3 horses entered in. He had one earlier in the card that went off as a favorite, did not run well. Ginobili's a tough read. What's he going to do? Is he going to go towards the front end? He obviously has some back class, but how does it transfer here out from California? He's obviously one of the ones to beat in here. And then we can't leave Rated R Superstar. He really is a superstar at 10 years old. Furious rally in the middle of the racetrack, and we've seen it from the last race at Hazy Command. If we get a fast pace, he can close on this racetrack today. We've seen this racetrack earlier in the meet not play towards Rated R Superstar, but it's really hard not to root for a 10-year-old that still loves to do his job. But I do think Soy Tapatio, the one's got a big shot to beat this field.
Paul, look, Ginobili, man, he was good, wasn't he? That little left hand off the dribble. I know Andy likes a little basketball. Andy, get your mind right to talk about Ginobili when I stop talking, because I know you have some Ginobili thoughts. Ginobili, as a racehorse, he's tactical, he's fast. He's got the best speed figures. He's the best horse in the race, and it's not even close. The thing is there is some other horses in here that have some speed, which could be a concern for him. He's going to be forward, and I think that Ricardo should ride him aggressively, knowing you're on the best horse. And a lot of times at most racetracks in this country, when there's a lot of speed in the race, one of them breaks, goes to the front. They go 49 to the half, which is not very fast if you're new to racing. And it doesn't turn out to be this pace meltdown that all the horse players and handicappers think it's going to be. Oaklawn Park's a little bit different. When the pace is supposed to be fast, it's often quick. I think this pace will be quick. I think Ginobili's good enough to overcome that fast pace, but I have to go to my boy, Rated R Superstar, the 6. Lafitte and I, for the first time, Lafitte Pinkai, the third, and I were at Oaklawn Park the first time we had ever worked together, and I picked Rated R Superstar, and he thought I was really smart. I haven't picked a winner since, but Rated R Superstar won for me that day, so at least impressed Lafitte to make me friends with him. I think this horse could pick up the pieces if the pace is as fast as I think it will be. And for the old 10-year-old rolling down the middle of the track, I think he'll get up and get his picture taken today.
He's just a great story as we take a look at him there. As you mentioned on the program the other day, Andy, I mean, he's not even allowed to run in New York, being the advanced age that he is. But obviously there is still plenty left in the tank for him as he closes in on $1.8 million in earnings.
Yeah, he's a good example of a rule I don't agree with. And of course, like him, running at 10 years old, he's just an extremely cool horse. Now, I don't think he would ever come to New York. He never has in the past. But he's just as good as he ever was, and just a really neat horse, a very easy horse to root for. And they're supposed to be moving up front in this race. And as I said, at Oaklawn, it's very rare that there's pace on paper and guys don't go. It's true at most racetracks. In New York, one guy goes and everybody else just rides tepidly behind them. It doesn't happen in other jurisdictions. And I can't imagine there won't be pace in here. And I can't imagine that Ricardo Santana won't be aggressive in this race with Ginobili. I'm not going to be shocked when Ginobili wins, but I would never take a short price on him, given the pace dynamic and his poor performances at Oaklawn Park. I think it's a two-sided situation. If he was the controlling speed here, I wouldn't really worry about it. But he can make the lead, but he's going to have to work to do it. And if they want to, like for instance, if they really want the lead with Dreamer's disease,
the 5 looks like the quickest.
He's
right?
This was a bullet. He had run very well in that Breeders' Cup. I don't even remember the juvenile. I think he ran fourth and third or sixth or something, but he was like involved in this wacky pace in 1,000,000 to 1. Then he came here for that New York bred Stallion Series race, and he was a heavy favorite, and he fell to his face at the start. It's a tough game for $500,000.
49 to 1 on the board. We're not saying by any stretch he's going to win this race or is a contender, but who knows? But at least going to be part of that pace. We know that early on.
I agree. Well, yeah, I mean, you don't have to be necessarily a likely factor to win a race to have an enormous effect on the outcome, especially when you can get in the way of the favorite in the race. And I'm also interested to see with the 7. You had mentioned this horse earlier to me for Wayne Lucas. I'm not saying I would bet this horse, but this horse's last race is so dichotomous. The last race, who knows? Maybe it's a Wayne Lucas horse that suddenly found himself.
Won his debut at Churchill. He immediately went to the Grade 3 Sanford at Saratoga, and he stumbled out of the gate against Witt. He was gone for, a year and a half?
Wayne was optimistic with a 2-year-old that broke his maiden first time out. I just
Shocker,
can't
right?
believe it. That's just such a shock.
Ginobili, the 8, the big favorite in here, former runner-up of the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, the 10-year-old, the 6, Rated R Superstar, trying to win this race in back-to-back years. Let's go to Vic Stauffer for the 5th season from Oaklawn.
And Silver Prospector. They're at the post. They're off. Perfect start. Dreamer's Disease shows the most speed and goes to the front. From Ginobili, Heart Rhythm, a hard scent, Runnin' Ray, and between horses is Hello Hot Rod. Then Seize the Night, followed by Soy Tapatio and King Fury. Silver Prospector, and the early trailer is Rated R Superstar. To the backstretch with Dreamer's Disease, 3/4 of a length in front of Ginobili in second. It's a length and a half to Runnin' Ray, Hello Heart Rod, and Heart Rhythm between horses. Then 2 lengths to Seize the Night. He's midfield and about 5 from the front, so Tapatio's at the rail. He's got 6 lengths to make up. Then comes King Fury and Silver Prospector. They've got 9 to close, and the defending champion, the 10-year-old Rated R Superstar, would have to pass them all and make up 13 lengths in the final half mile of the 34th fifth season stakes. They go into the far turn, Dreamer's Disease with a closer Ginobili in second. Dreamer's Disease just 3/4, now less than that as Ginobili makes his move. 2 lengths to Hello Hot Rod. Heart Rhythm takes over fourth now. He's on the move, but he's 5 lengths behind Ginobili. Then comes Silver Prospector. Rated R Superstar is unwinding, but he's still 10 lengths off the uncontested leader at the top of the stretch, and his name is Ginobili. And Ginobili has put a 6-length margin. Rated R Superstar has run up in the center of the racetrack, and he is closing. He's come from last up into second, but he'll have to fly to catch Ginobili. Ginobili is 6 in front. Runnin' Ray, Rated R Superstar, and Heart Rhythm for second. Ginobili! The 34th fifth season stakes in dominant fashion goes to Ginobili. Close for second. Runnin' Ray, Heart Rhythm, and Rated R Superstar.
Ginobili sitting right off of the speedy, as we expected, Dreamer's Disease, and he just decimates this field.
He did. He liked Oaklawn today. And listen, he earned it. They were moving up front. Dreamer's Disease basically was eased in here. Others made up some kind of run. He was an hour the best. And I'll tell you, the kind of form that he's in right now, and with his speed, this horse could do well. I mean, I guess the real question is how confident they are. Can he get a mile and an eighth? Because that's the big race, the Oaklawn Handicap. Or is he a horse that they'd be better suited with shorter races when he comes to New York again? Obviously, I'm sure they'd love to be in the Met Mile with him. And a lot of things have to happen for that. But he's a pretty nice horse, and this was he destroyed this field. Nice run on Running Ray to get second. Martin Garcia saving ground and getting through to get second over. I believe he got second, though who knows over there. I can't call a photo to save my life.
137-1 for the mile.
Shows you how quick that pace was, right?
Easily as he did it. I mean, Ginobili just absolutely dominant here. And 2, keep in mind, just the second off this long layoff, about 11 months off for him.
He's still not as good as Manu, but he's a pretty good horse.
Manu, one of the all-time greats.
Manu is awesome.
Ginobili in the 5th season,
man.
proving, yes, he can win outside of California. It's big for him from that respect.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think if you're Peter Miller, I mean, it has to be a little bit of a thought in your mind. He ran so badly, and trainers are usually confident it won't matter. In this case, it didn't matter at all. He was much the best. This was a massacre. He destroyed this field.
And ultimate goal, I mean, we obviously would have to talk the connections, but you got to think another run at the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile?
Well, a long way from it, but I imagine that's probably the likeliest spot for him. But, a lot can happen, and we'll see. I mean, I don't know, is he a horse that could be effective at 6 furlongs, too? I'm just trying to. The mile is such a meaningless race, It's never going to do anybody any good. But he is a horse that's probably better with a little more distance. Though his last race was a mile. 6 furlongs? I don't know. I hate the mile. I hate the dirt mile. It hurts the sprint and it hurts the classic. And nobody cares about it.
Musings with Andy Serling.
I've always got something going on here. If it was a one-turn race, I don't think it's a good race as a 2-turn race. I'm not knocking anything. Okay. Horses ran this year are good horses. I just don't like it as a race.
Ginobili absolutely dominant in the 5th season. Well, the prices set up the nightcap when we come back.
It's a domineering display by the ultra-talented McKenzie. McKenzie in a dominant performance.
300 won't do it. 300,000. 275, you 275,000. 75, but to get 75, 275,000. 250, I'm Ralph now, 250,000. Here, but to get $200,000.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Nairo Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Nairo Bets.
Here comes Malathon. Here comes Clarier on the outside. They're coming to the finish, and it's going to be Clarier. Nest, much the best. She won by better than 10 lengths. Cody's Wish on the outside. Cody's Wish with the upset in the Fargo. Malathon grabs the lead in deep stretch, and Malathon has won the Personal Ensign Stakes.
Curlin, the classic sire.
We take pride in what we do.
I'm an assistant trainer.
Carpenter.
I'm a peace officer.
I'm a jockey.
I'm a gardener.
I'm a groom.
I love what I do.
We are New York Racing.
New York Racing helps support my small business.
It's extremely important to the New York economy.
This is like a big family.
We are New York Horse Racing.
Back with you on America's Day at the Races. Greg Wolf, Andy Serling, rest of the crew as well. Our program brought to you in part by legendary Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. And we just saw a big performance in the 5th season by this 6-year-old right here, Ginobili. Now with Peter Miller, Ricardo Santana Jr., Slam Dunk Racing. And just the 4th win of Ginobili's career, but he's had some big moments, including a Grade 2 victory at Del Mar couple of years ago.
Seemed to be the top of his game, though, winning this race. And the way he won it, knowing the kind of numbers the others run, you have to see the figure is going to hover around that 100 mark, somewhere in that range. And just the fact that they ran 46 and 2 to the half, and the final time was 37 and change. From that perspective, it shows that they were moving up front in there. So, to come home in 51 and nobody was gaining, right? It's not like people were really picking up on him. So it's a suggestion that was a relatively fast pace for him. So a very good effort by him.
$5.80 for the win. Running Ray winds up second, and the 10-year-old hitting the board and adding to that monster bankroll he's accumulated over his career. Rated R Superstar. Look at this winner's circle picture. Very crowded there with these connections of Ginobili. And front and center, and who guided Ginobili to that victory, Ricardo Santana Jr. Let's go to Paul LaDuca.
Yeah, I'm with winning rider here, Ricardo Santana Jr. And whenever you hear that bell, that means that the winning owners have donated to the Thoroughbred Aftercare for some of the winnings, something they do here at Oaklawn. Ricardo, first thing I asked you, wow, you said, what's next?
Well, I was really comfortable where he was. First, I need to say thank you to Mr. Peter and the owners. They gave me the opportunity in this horse. He was training really, really good in the morning. I was really happy where I was. And in half a mile, he asked me to go. I just let it go a little bit. Man, turf home, I have a plane in the tank. He's waiting for my company. My company never show up. But I was excited riding this horse today.
You could tell when you got off that horse, the smile on your face. Did you even get to 80% of him?
I think I take 75%. Because I use smooching turf for home just a little bit to keep him awake. Don't let him fall asleep. And I never hit him. I just show him the stick a few times. But I got plenty in the tank.
Well, hopefully you keep on going. And congratulations, Ricardo Santana and Ginobili dominate today in impressive fashion.
Good to see Ricardo Santana Jr. getting big wins again. We talked a lot on this program. He had that great relationship with Steve Asmussen. They were a team, split for a bit. He's back in good graces with him, but starting to win big races again.
Well, the way Steve started the Oaklawn meet, I think Ricardo's okay not riding too many of his horses, but eventually he will hopefully want to ride for him, will ride for him. I'm sure he will again. And nice to see him doing well. My friend Jimmy Riccio has his book now as well.
That was fun to watch. I mean, that was just...
Yeah, that horse was...
steamrolled that field.
He made 9 to 5 look like the overlay of the year.
Finale on the Saturday card from Hot Springs. It is a maiden special weight. Everybody looking for the first win of their careers. Mile and a 16th coming up. Shopper's Revenge, big pedigree. Dam, Stop Charging Maria, the Coaching Club American Oaks, Alabama, and Breeders' Cup Distaff winner.
I'm a little surprised the horse. I mean, I imagine she'll drop from here, or he will. He's 7-2 right now. Isn't that chilly Asmussen barn? This horse ran well first time out. Broke a length slow, was steady back on the rail, and I actually thought made a nice run after that, and is supposed to appreciate stretching out. That's Shopper's Revenge. I think the Dam won a pretty big race, right? I never forgave her. She beat Stellar Wind when she won the Breeders' Cup. Now, I know people think I have this big East Coast bias. I loved Stellar Wind. She's a really good horse.
Rare West Coast horse you actually
No, you're so full of it. I have plenty of West Coast horses I like. And I was a big fan. Well, she actually, believe it or not, she's actually an East Coast horse.
Okay.
She ran at Laurel to be in
So
her
there
career.
you go. Exactly. My point's
Yes,
proven.
yes, there you go.
We're going to have this race for you coming up when we return. You just
we've been
made the argument for me.
It's been a while.
We're going to recap what happened on the road to the Kentucky Oaks, the Busanda, earlier today. A cult of supernatural fame with the victory for
Cult
Chad
against the
Brown.
girls.
Talk about her prospects on the trail to the Oaks when we come back. Back on America's Day at the Races on our FS2 coverage on this Saturday afternoon. Our program brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today.
Do you know that when I was a kid in Grand Central Station, they had an OTB right on the main floor at Grand Central Station. The windows, if you're going there to the left, they were nearest the OTB windows, and they have a little booth you could get at. My grandmother and I stopped by. I remember betting an old horse of mine I loved there named Dance Spell, ran from Christiana Stable. The good old days back in the 70s.
That's pretty
Me and
neat.
my grandmother at the OTB in Grand Central.
You told me neighborhood I live in, right at the corner of the street, it used to be an OTB.
God, are you kidding me?
I'm in the right neighborhood.
I'm sure we have viewers that remember the Sackett and Court Street OTB. That place was legendary. Tremendous spot. The Sackett Street OTB, unbelievable. It was right. I live inside. Coincidentally, you live very close to where I lived over 30 years ago, and it was a great OTB.
Gonna have to do a podcast about this. I want to hear some of the stories from the
Great
old days.
OTB. I still am friends with the people I met there. Yeah.
We're going to look back on some of the stakes action from earlier today. Busanda rode to the Kentucky Oaks for 3-year-old fillies and expected her to be on the lead. She didn't make the lead because someone else was hard sent to try and get to the front, but a colt still looks pretty good doing it in her stakes debut.
Knowing my friend Chad Brown, he was probably very happy that he had a target. He likes the target, and she didn't need a lead to win. So, in fairness, not that she had a tough trip, she had a very easy trip, and her speed gave her an advantage. She probably is the best horse in the race, and from a tactical standpoint, she could sort of control things. And the horse who went the lead was badly overmatched, though.
Sweetest Princess.
Yeah, she almost beat the second choice in here, who was a very disappointing, distant third in this race. And a colt, listen, horses are looking to take steps forward right now. They're not looking to set the world on fire, and you want to see when you stand. And I don't think anybody, even Eddie Stanko, thought that Princess Silmar was going to win the Kentucky Oaks when she won this race. So you never know. And this is the
Pennsylvania bred for Ed Stanko, that started at the maiden win came at Penn National.
This was 10 years ago.
Wound up becoming Kentucky Oaks.
She won by
American Oaks, Alabama winner.
She win or made by like 17 lengths?
19 lengths.
Yeah, I remember. I picked against her every single time she ran New York. To be fair, she did lose once. I think Closed Hatches beat her in the Gazelle, the race before the Kentucky Oaks. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Right.
she did.
Yeah.
Going to look back at some of the stakes action from Tampa as well. Keisha Clement, great job there. It's good to see her back on the program. Pasco Stakes, quickest horse in the race, winds up getting the victory in the Pasco Zydeco. Back-to-back wins now.
This horse is really improving, no doubt about it, and the favorite had every chance to beat her on the inside. And just really, or he felt like he was going to beat him, but Zydeco just kept on going here. Saw upsets in both these races.
Yeah, back-to-back wins now for the son of Cajun Breeze. And here comes Champion Stream down on the inside to put in a bid, but not to be. A horse who had been, was a winner of the Grade 3 Nashua last time, and we saw him moving to the Marcassi barn.
I like the spelling, the Zydeco.
I do too. Yeah, very cool.
Clever name going on right there.
Florida bred, though. Meanwhile, the Gasparilla, Darth Vader came in trying to make it 3 in a row. It turned out to be that one not involved at all in this race.
You know, it is Florida. They have a lot of Florida breds down there. Just pointing it out.
It's an open company race.
I know. You said it with such shock in your voice.
I would have thought a Louisiana bred with that name.
Okay, I got you. Now I got it. I was a little slow on the uptake there, right? Long shots getting the money in this race is two priced horses hitting the wire together. As you said, the favorite is an absolute no-show in here. And, you know, you want to see what the figs look like going forward. And I have no idea how the Tampa Bay big races are setting up. Sam Davis.
Yeah, February 11th, I believe. That's Sam F. Davis. This for 3-year-old filly, so Opus 42. Started on turf sprinting, a couple of starts, wins her dirt debut, and then this was the next start. She's 2 for 2 on dirt.
And at the risk of annoying the MIG, is that a wine, Opus 42 or something? Isn't there a kind of wine that's like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure the MIG's probably screaming at the TV wherever he is.
She has a bottle
probably
of that.
already doing that anyway.
Any Opus, you're doing quite well at the dinner table. We're going to take a timeout. We will be back. We have the nightcap still to come from Oaklawn. Good one, actually, to close it out. Rocket and Roll for Brad Cox, that 6-horse major player in here. There's the 10 for Kenny McPeak. Horse is going to be coming from well out of it, far outside post, but made an impact last start.
Oscar knows basketball. Oscar knows Kentucky fans are crazy. Oscar knows God is great.
Life is Good now moves down to the inside, and they're coming for the finish. It is Life is Good still in front. Life is Good is the winner.
Oscar knows life is good.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than America'sBestRacing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America'sBestRacing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
The Run Happies are running, the Run Happies are selling, the Run Happies are winning. Eclipse champion Run Happy is showing a new dimension with winners on turf, dirt, and all weather. A record-breaking sprint champion, Run Happy is also showing winners at all distances, from 7 furlongs to 1.25 miles. A sire whose runners can carry his speed over all distances and all surfaces. Run Happy, price for value, and standing strong at Claiborne Farm.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Back with you on America's Day at the Races. We have the finale coming up out in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Program brought to you in part where you can play it all. Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Go to nairabets.com. Get signed up and started. And we're going to share the post parade here coming up. Race 10 at Oaklawn. Mile and a 16th. Maiden special weight. Favorite has become the morning line favorite. Rock and Roll for Brad Cox, who we'll get to momentarily. I'm going to kick things off here with It Was This Big, who chased Rocket and Roll last time out, was fourth in that race.
I mean, he didn't really run that badly.
Yeah.
Only got beaten a few lengths by Rock and Roll, would just have to take another step forward, but took a big step forward stretching out.
This horse was in that race as well. Had a poor beginning. I actually thought it ran a very good race.
I don't think this horse ran badly at all. I hate these horses just have no speed. That's what I always worry about. But source of price.
Shopper's Revenge, that big pedigree for Steve Asmussen.
I think this horse is going to run very well in here. And you see a lot of these big pedigrees for Whisper Hill as Manny Pope. Not afraid to go in for those broodmares.
Another big pedigree here with Talladega, who's burned some money as the favorite first two starts.
I'm probably wrong, but I feel like Thin Disguise is, if not, it was owned by Lee Einseidler, though I'm probably wrong. To look that up.
Produced Holiday Disguise, Grade 3 winner. Midnight Disguise, who was a multiple stakes winner. Violent River went by 35-1. Here's the favorite, Rocket and Roll.
Yeah, I get it, but I mean, there was 6-5 last time and just sort of fell apart. Why are we supposed to think this horse is going to be a better to mile 16th? I prefer the 3.
Has speed, blinkers coming off. It's Brad Cox. Tahoe Run 31-1.
Will have to improve and also stretching out. We'll see if this horse is forward.
Citizen Ron Moquette looking for another winner today.
Took a little money first time out. Would have to improve, but not impossible.
Expensive son of the two-time Horse of the Year, Curlin. Bougie Joe at 24-1.
Yes, a horse that will have to improve a lot off the last race, but it was on a wet track.
And Escapeologist did start to really move late in that race at Churchill Downs last start for Kenny McPeak.
Got to overcome the outside post. If the horse can get the right trip from out there for Nick Juarez, who's doing well at Oaklawn, I think he is a contender, and he gets Lasix first time as well.
2 minutes to post here in this finale on the Saturday card from Hot Springs. You can play with Naira Bets. That's the offer, that $200 deposit match sign up bonus. New members punch in this code, match 200, and you're all set to go at nairabets.com. Let's check in with Paulie for more.
Thanks, guys. Closing out the day here at Oaklawn, and actually a pretty good betting board. You know, when you look at this race, you know, on form, it looks like a 2-horse betting race with the 3 in here, Shopper's Revenge. Obviously, we know her mother, Charging Maria, who is a Grade 1 winner and an unbelievable pedigree. You know, I thought he ran well first time out. Determined is a nice colt and no disgrace. And sometimes those races where you're clear by 7 1/4 and not bunched up, they're actually better races than you think. So I'm kind of with Andy. I think the 3 is the horse to beat. Now, Rock and Roll, this is the one horse I do like from for Brad Cox, because the horse has had a race over the racetrack, and I think that's been key. It just seems like you got to get a race over it, and not many times you see a Brad Cox horse go to the front end and really get past. That worries me a tiny bit, but I do think this horse is going to be a lot tighter for this race. So, you know, I thought this race was 6-3, 3-6, one of those two. If I'm looking outside the box, I'm giving you nothing special. I think the 8 Citizen, you just can't leave Ron Moquette and Rafael Bejarano off anything right now the way they're going. And obviously the 10 Escapeologist. The only reason is Kenny McPeak, I understand he's got 4 wins. They've all been kind of on drop downs, and this horse comes from way out of it. He does get Nicky Juarez, who's having a very nice meet, but he's going to have to launch from way out of it. And I don't know if the pace is going to be scalding in here at all. So I hate to give you not much here, but I'm 3-6, 6-3, and I'd probably go with the 8 maybe to be your little bit of a long shot here at 10-1.
Well,
I hate to get not much, by the way.
Interesting is Rocket and Roll was he just is naturally quicker than anyone last time out. Now with the blinkers coming off.
Still, shouldn't he be in front, though?
No, I think he will be in front, yeah.
Yeah.
Tahoe Run, I guess the 7 next door, stretching out,
Yeah.
might show some speed. Who else?
The 1 could show speed, right? I mean, you would think that with the rail position, Arrieta would look to protect it, right? Give himself a little bit of more of an advantage and not just let Rocket and Roll have it. I'm not saying he's going to be dueling with him, but at least make him run a little bit. I mean,
see.
And isn't the 3 supposed to be more forward here? Blew the brake last time, broke a length slow, and it wasn't a fast early quarter, but it's not like it wasn't that slow relatively speaking, and brakes cleanly. I think Shopper's Revenge will be I'm not saying he's going to be in front, but I think he can be forward.
And what do you do with Talladega in here? Obviously, an extremely expensive son of into mischief with a pedigree, but didn't show really anything at all. It was a sloppy track, debut, fine. Maybe put a line through that. Start number 2 is a little troubling, isn't it?
I don't like this horse. Yeah. Gets Lasix. The dam was New York bred. It wasn't Lee, but it was New York bred. They spent a lot of money for this horse, but I don't know. I got to be careful because I joked about a WinStar horse that Rudy Brissett had it, and Elliot Walden was giving me a hard time on Twitter, so I know he's listening, so I have to be nice.
Dan produced a Busanda winner, by the way.
Really? You just told me. You told us that beforehand, right?
Midnight Disguise.
Holiday Disguise, you say?
Midnight Disguise.
Midnight Disguise. Was that Aspen? Who trained that horse? I'm trying to remember. See, you're just glad you brought it up, aren't you? I mean, this horse just hasn't done any running, and it's been bet off the board. And the problem was the horse bet off the board because they liked her or him, or was he bet off the board because he cost $850,000? Because at the end of the day, okay, he got bet first time. A sloppy track, but he didn't do any running last time. Maybe he needs Lasix. I suppose it's possible. At least he's 8-1 today, right? I love the circle. I have nightmares about this, circling forever.
Plenty of time to get your wagers in for this nightcap.
No hurry.
Yeah.
It is Arkansas. Is it getting dark soon?
Expected to be. I think there's no surprise. The 3 and the 6. It was going to be those 2 vying for favoritism.
Mm-hmm. 3's now favored.
Despite as cold, thinking back on Steve Asmussen, and he's going through this. Everyone goes through cycles.
He'll be okay.
Cold streak. And I'm sure he has. I just don't remember him going
through
a cold streak.
He had that terrible run at Keeneland. Was it last year or 2 years ago?
It
was last year.
Short meet, though, yeah.
Nobody had like an 0 for 30 or something.
Okay.
He had a terrible run. No, I'm sure Steve could tell you he's had his share. And listen,
not many.
If you don't have bad runs, you're not in the game. Every trainer goes through bad runs sometimes. You see it. I've seen it from Todd Pletcher. I've seen it with Chad Brown. They have bad runs. Now this is, and who is Steve bringing? I don't feel like because we do watch a lot of their races. I don't feel like he's failing with short prices over and over again. He's running a lot of okay horses, and they're not running that well. But I don't think he's massively underachieving by any stretch.
And obviously, this meet goes for a long ways. He's got the ammunition to still be contender for the leading trainer title when all is said and done.
When he wins 4 races in a row and suddenly he's winning at an 18% clip. I think Steve will be fine.
Rocket and Roll the 6 may be the one they're all trying to catch in here. Blinkers coming off, showed speed last start on the stretch out to a mile, but Shopper's Revenge out of the dam stopped charging Maria.
She was pretty good, right? Did she win any big races that you know?
No, you were listening. Coaching Club, American Oaks, Alabama, Breeders' Cup Distaff.
Mike Rapoli.
Start number 2 for the 3-horse finale on this Saturday card. Let's go to Vic Stauffer for the call.
They're at the post. They're off. Bougie Joe broke very well. It was this big in Shopper's Revenge with Rocket and Roll. Shopper's Revenge puts his head in front. Citizen is next. Then Between Horses and Violent River, Pappy Wolf is now in behind horses. Tahoe Run and Talladega, and the early trailer is Escapologist. It's Shopper's Revenge to the backstretch. He's got a length and a half on Rocket and Roll. The favorites are 1-2. At the rail, it was this big, 3rd and 2 from the front, with Citizen just outside of him. Pappy Wolf still a handful for Tyler Bays. He's 5th with about 4 lengths to make up. Bougie Joe just outside of him. Talladega and Tahoe Run have 6 lengths to make up. They're 2 in front of Violent River, and Escapologist is the trailer. Midway up the backstretch, and Shopper's Revenge is doing it well. Shopper's Revenge to the half-mile pole. He's opened up a 3.5, maybe even 4-length lead on Rocket and Roll. Pappy Wolf is guided to the center of the racetrack. Nope, he's still in behind horses, 3rd and 2 and 4 from the front. Then comes a Citizen, 2 back, 2. It was this big in Tahoe Run, followed by Bougie Joe, Talladega, Escapologist, and Violent River, and it's still Shopper's Revenge. Rocket and Roll comes after him. These two at the top of the stretch, Shopper's Revenge. Santana just took a look back over his right shoulder. He likes what he sees because the whip is out on Rocket and Roll. 3 back to Citizen, then Tahoe Run, final furlong. It is Shopper's Revenge. Rocket and Roll is still trying to come after him. Shopper's Revenge leads by 2. Rocket and Roll tried him again at the 8th pole, but now Shopper's Revenge has opened up. Rocket and Roll and Pappy Wolf will battle for second. Shopper's Revenge in front. Shopper's Revenge won by 5 in the end. Pappy Wolf was second, Rocket and Roll third. Tahoe Run finished fourth.
Steve Asmussen, he's got a talented 3-year-old on his hands. Wins second time out and did it by taking command early.
Andy Pope puts a lot of money in the game. It's nice to see her with a good one, and this horse ran very well. And I love the ride by Ricardo. That's the good Ricardo Santana, right? Horse broke maybe a hair slow. He sensed they weren't going that fast. A lot of guys seemed a little indecisive, and Ricardo said, I'm not going to be indecisive, I'm going. And he put a hurt in this field, and you could see around the turn that he was just comfortable, and the 6 started asking, and it was over.
I'm surprised Rocket and Roll did not want the front.
I wonder, as you said, with the blinkers off, if they didn't really want to be that aggressive, though he didn't break that sharply. Yeah. But I think it was the decisive move by Ricardo Santana that made the difference. Also riding the best horse. That helps.
It's just a maiden win. It was a dominant maiden win, big pedigree, maybe a horse we're going to hear more from.
Oh, I guarantee they're thinking of, they're thinking about races like the Rebel and the Arkansas. Yeah. Listen, everybody wants to get there. You don't buy a broodmare like, Stop Shopping Maria without thinking, I want to get to the big races. He's got to get there. It's a long way.
Remember that name, Shopper's Revenge, dominant maiden score. We'll see you tomorrow on FS1, 2:30 Eastern start time. It was a cult of the supernatural thing. Philly winning the Busanda on the road to the Kentucky Oaks for Chad Brown in the Pasco. Zydeco, the speedster, holding off the favorite for the victory. Opus 42 in a photo finish, outdueling Charlie's Wish for the victory. And the most dominant performance we saw all day long, Ginobili. Impressive in the 5th season, first win outside of California.